Good morning, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. If you're new here, this is the most pro-Donald Trump radio show anywhere in the world. And also, this is the longest-running radio show in the state of Florida. I'm Brian Craig. I'm the co-host. The show is called The Steve Kane Show. Hold on, I gotta open my door over here. Hold on. Be right back. This is our top of the hour break here at the top of the show, so we'll be on the air shortly. If you're new here again, we take calls live on the air. We're on 4 radio stations live here in Morning Drive from 6 till 9 a.m. Eastern, and we're on the radio. We stream here on YouTube. So welcome to the program, everyone. Make sure you sub, click that notification bell, and everything else.
Make sure you... Don't waste time going anywhere else.
Here we go.
You'll never find prices as low as Friendly Tire in Margate.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll-free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's 1-888-GO-KANE-1. And now, here...
All right, welcome, everyone. Yes. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. It's 5 minutes after 6, Thursday morning, January 21st, 2021. And oh man, do we have a lot to talk about. We'll also take your calls at 1-888-GO-KANE-1. I did go up to Mar-a-Lago yesterday. I was within 5 by NTD News, and which I think was a pretty good interview. You can catch my interview with him yesterday. So he's got some plans, and we'll talk about what those are a little later in the show. I did not watch the inauguration yesterday. No, I didn't, and I know probably a lot of you didn't either. Although we are going to talk about Biden and Harris and what's going on. You know, Biden yesterday talked about unity. And, you know, what Biden and the Democrats mean by unity is agree with them. Then we're all unified behind them. They're all about diversity. All you're hearing about in the news are all these Kamala Harrises and all these historic hyphens that she's accomplished. First woman, first black woman, first Indian woman, first everything, you know. And they talk so much about diversity among ethnicity, right? They're very into diversity among ethnicity and other things too, but they're not about diversity of thought. And believe me, unity is a very bad word when you hear it from a leftist, and it means agree with them or else. And that's how I take that entire message yesterday. And Brennan, I don't know if Biden's given him his security clearance back yet, but I'm sure that is coming. Brennan, which I'm going to play some audio coming up in just a little bit after the first break. I'm going to get into some of my audio today. But Brennan yesterday mapped out in detail what Biden's plan is. That's right, to root out opposition. We're going to talk about that. You'll hear Brennan in his own words talk about the Biden plan. I know, it's frightening, isn't it? I know. But to them, that makes perfect sense. Now, to them, that's the way it should be, because Trump and those who support him are such, well, terrible people that are all these things that we're not. But I will tell you, I had an experience. I went to 2 different places yesterday where there were Trump people, because, you know, President Trump came back home. I did, as I said, I got off the air and went up there and to see the president. I ran into a listener who was up there to see Trump too, and he says, "Oh, I heard you say you were going to be up here. You're really here." I was like, "Yeah, of course I'm here. What do you think? I just said that, you know?" He's a good guy. He's on my. I had my "Make America Great Again" hat on and all of that, but this guy had. I mean, it was the only thing was missing was a tattoo, and he was the most vocal of anyone. Okay, and he was all in MAGA gear, and he was in this crowd, and there were a lot of us there. It was a very packed area. And across the street, there was a couple of Biden people, guy with a Biden flag, and this Trump guy. Well, come to find he's not, but this guy in all the MAGA gear is trying to get the crowd all stirred up to start a confrontation with the Biden guy across the street. I mean, really getting people worked up. And he was running his mouth, and he was trying to get a fight going. This one particular guy. And if anybody out there was in my group, I'm sure you heard the guy. He made a comment about one of the female reporters that was very crude, that was not something a gentleman would say about a woman. I heard him say to somebody, which was a red flag to me. But this guy, not only was he not a MAGA guy, he was an agitator, right? The Trump people in the crowd realized it. And immediately, when you go to those of you that have been to Trump events, I'm sure you've had this experience. You don't know any of these people. You don't know their names. You've never seen them before. You're never going to see them again, but you have a bond like your family at a family reunion. You haven't seen each other for 15, 20 years. And this guy in all the MAGA gear that was trying to get a fight going, people were telling him to quiet down, that's not what we're about. And then they started saying, "Are you Antifa?" I heard people say, "Are you Antifa?" And they would say to others, "This guy's not MAGA. He's an agitator, just like the ones at the Capitol that are he's trying to get us to get in a fight with this guy." And they were telling him to go away, and they ran him the hell out. And eventually he left and went to another group of Trump people somewhere else. I don't know how that worked out for him over there, but I was amazed at, first off, the agitator was there. I saw it. I witnessed it. I experienced it yesterday. But he was taken down by the Trump people who wouldn't be a party to it and called him out. And as soon as they called him out and said, "Hey, you're an agitator just like at the Capitol, trying to get us to do something," he was out of there. He was out. He was gone. I don't know where he went, but he left. And I know, it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And there was complete uniformity among all the people in the group that he was an agitator like the ones that got people agitated at the Capitol. And then after everything with the president and everything, I got in my car and I went back to the airport to see if I could check out Air Force One if it was still there, and it was. And I did live stream this. It's on my YouTube channel. And if you go on my YouTube live stream yesterday from Air Force One, you can see what I'm talking about. Now, anytime Air Force One is in town with President Trump, I go there as many times as I can. It's cool. And yesterday was exciting because he came in the big Air Force One. It flew over us, which was amazing. But he came in the big one, which he hadn't flown here in a while, and he's been taking the smaller Air Force One. The last few trips, I don't know, because he was campaigning at small airports. But anyway, I go over to the airport. Usually, when I go and see Air Force One, I'm by myself. Sometimes there'll be another person or two, maybe. Yesterday, it was jam-packed. I mean, I had to park pretty far away. Usually, I can pull right up to it. And there were a ton of MAGA people there just wanting to get that last look at Air Force One. And the engines were running, so we knew it was going to take off. And eventually, it did take off. And this is all on my video. Got to watch it take off. But it was all MAGA people. All MAGA people. And I'm live streaming. I'm on my iPhone talking to everybody in the live stream chat. And those of you that were watching saw this. I turn around to show the crowd of people that are with me to see Air Force One and watch Air Force One take off yesterday. And there's a pickup truck, a big old pickup truck, with Biden Harris flags flying in the bed of the truck. And I'm thinking, okay, it's America. You can go wherever you want with your stuff, but this is very strange. Why would someone come to a place where there's a few hundred Trump people, MAGA people, with Biden flags. And then I saw on the truck, and this is in the video, so don't just take my word for it. Go to my video. Yes, I'm plugging my channel, so what? But you can see in the video, they were Black Lives Matter. And you might say, well, how do I know that, other than that they were black? Because they had decals on the vehicle that said Black Lives Matter. And they were playing Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, too. Full blast. Oh, yeah, I know. But why, and so I'm at two different venues, miles apart, both loaded with Trump people. Each one had, and they didn't stay very long. Because the Black Lives Matter people at Air Force One, I think maybe they didn't get the reaction they wanted. But, definitely the guy at the first event was looking to agitate and cause trouble, trying to get MAGA people to do something in disguise as in all the MAGA gear. And then Black Lives Matter showing up at this other group of hundreds of Trump people at Air Force One. They were looking to cause trouble. And I'll tell you, not one person, and a lot of different people, none of us know each other, not one person at either event did anything other than, with the Black Lives Matter, just ignore them. People looked because they're playing Born in the USA so loud, But and then they left because they didn't get the reaction. No one cared. They thought they were going to come there, I guess. And people, they believe the stereotypes of us that the media have. I guess they feel that MAGA people are white supremacists and would start, yelling racial slurs and things at them or get angry at them for being there. Nothing happened, and they left. Come in there to agitate, cause trouble. No one did anything. They left, and the same with the other guy. So I was very, very proud to see that the MAGA people didn't buy in to the agitators at either location. It was absolutely amazing. But this is what the left do. I witnessed it and experienced it myself yesterday. All right, listen, I'm going to take our first break of the day. It's Thursday, January 21st, 2021. I still can't get used to saying 2021. I feel like most of the science fiction shows I watched as a kid took place before 2021. All right, our number, toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call from anywhere, no matter where you are listening to us from. We'll take our first break of the day and be right back after this. Do not go anywhere.
Brian Craig here. You've heard us talk about the great low prices Friendly Tire has on new tires and
I know, it's
used
crazy,
tires.
isn't it?
Also do tire
It's insane.
repairs. Listen to one of our listeners talk about their experience at Friendly Tire and
That's what they do.
Hey Brian, my name is Mike. Just wanted to call and say thank you. I had a problem with my car. I had a flat tire. It was going down really quick.
That's what they do.
I had to go somewhere close by. They couldn't really fix it. So I remember you guys are talking about Friendly Mike at Friendly Tires. So I said, listen, Mike, I need a couple of tires. I told him my size. He goes, I got them. I go, I'll see you tomorrow. They were really cheap. I go over there, and Mike said, which tires do you want to replace? They look relatively new. I said, they are. I just got a big hole in that one. And they said they couldn't be fixed. He goes, pull your vehicle in. I pulled the vehicle in. He took the tire off. He pulled out the plug that the guy in Coral Springs put in there, and he heat shielded it. He kind of patched it or whatever they call it. I don't know what they call it. And he
Yeah,
goes,
that's how they operate. That's how they roll.
That one. Give me $20. But the guy in Coral Springs wanted $500 for 2 tires. I just wanted to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day.
Give Mike at Friendly Tire a call right now. We'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Don't waste time going anywhere else. You will never find prices as low as Friendly Tire in Margate.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for www.
Yeah, and don't forget, Friendly Tire in Margate is also open on Saturdays. Those of you that cannot make it there during the week, they are open on Saturdays. And if you have corporate vehicles, industrial vehicles, they can help you on those as well. I saw someone in there last week. I was telling you guys had a monster truck, buying monster truck tires. If you have a sports car, some of our listeners come in there with Porsches. They have all the name brands at prices you can't find anywhere else. I promise you. I've been a customer there for over a decade at Friendly Tire in Margate. And when you call over there, make sure you tell Friendly Mike you heard about him on the Steve Kane Show. I'll take a call or two before I get into some new things, but that was a little bit of my experience yesterday. And you got to watch out for these agitators. 1-888-GO-CANE 1. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian.
Yes.
Morning, Brian.
Good morning.
Lester, Louisiana.
Hey, Lester in Louisiana. What's on your mind?
I seen when the plane landed yesterday at the airport. I seen President Trump come out, his wife, and all the kids. And then they got the Suburban, and all that. I watch it on YouTube. And then I went to another one that had this girl and boy that was one of the news broadcasts over there you was talking about.
Uh-huh.
Girl, yeah. I was watching them, and they said they had news people across the street, but they didn't want to ask nobody nothing.
Yeah, in the crowd I was in, which again was the crowd, in the group I was in was as close as we were allowed to get to Mar-a-Lago, the president's home, and the media that was in there was NTD News and Right Side Broadcasting. The mainstream media were across the street and didn't talk to anyone. They didn't want to talk to anyone because they have a narrative they want to share, and yeah.
It was an MVP with this young girl with black hair and a tall boy with good.
Yeah, that's Right Side Broadcasting. Yeah, I was talking to them before I left.
Yeah, Ben was out there, and then I seen when you started filming everything. I seen everything they do, that truck with Black Lives Matter. I seen that on YouTube yesterday. It was good, that was. And then I watched when the plane took off. But I seen it when they land. They showed the inside of it, and then Don Jr. He was carrying all the clothes up there and, on his shoulder and the hanger.
Oh, that's funny. He didn't have a manservant do it. Billionaire like that, carrying his own stuff.
Well, I seen all that yesterday. I seen when they left Washington and when they landed in.
Yeah, it was exciting. I saw Don Jr. yesterday. I caught a glimpse of Melania yesterday too, and Kim Guilfoyle. They all looked great yesterday. But the president in particular he was glowing yesterday.
You sure did. Let me ask you, what all these Suburbans they have? That's Trump security that's going to stay with him, man?
No, that was the Secret Service because that was before the inauguration. So he was still the legal president. That's so he had the presidential seal. Though he didn't have the beast because I guess they needed that for the inauguration. Last time I saw him, he was in the beast. But no, those were U.S. Secret Service, and the cars before and behind them and next to them were filled with very big soldiers with some of the biggest guns I've ever seen in my life.
Well, let me ask you, I seen when all of them was leaving the airport, when they was getting on a plane to go back. Now, those guys staying at President Trump?
Well, some of them will. I mean, some of them will. He'll have Secret Service for life. Him and the First Lady will have Secret Service for life, But yeah. But that was a full presidential motorcade yesterday because it was before the inauguration. Yeah, that was a regular presidential motorcade.
I seen everything. I seen your battery ever went down on your.
I just made it. I thought I didn't think I was going to catch Air Force One, and it was there. So I know my phone battery just made it to film Air Force One taking off, and it was really sad because it was the first time in 4 years that Air Force One left South Florida without President Trump on board.
Well, I called my grandson. I said, come see this big plane President Trump was in. And he looked at it, he said, they're going to take off? I said, watch. Oh, we see when he was tickled to death. He's 12 years old,
Yeah.
He took off. You said, well, I don't know if I got enough battery to watch it.
Yeah. No, it was a bittersweet, a little sadness there, seeing the,
people over there. Oh, they had some drunk people, huh?
Oh yeah. Hey, listen, appreciate the call. Thanks so much. Welcome to the program. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Ed from Texas.
Hey, Ed from Texas. What's on your mind?
Good job yesterday, Brian, on the interview with NTD. I thought you spoke very well from the heart, and see the other folks there from Florida, and that's the president's home state now. It's heartwarming to see the support that you're giving them. So, kudos to you for what you did yesterday. You represented very, very well.
Yeah, I'm so glad I went because when I got there literally about 2 minutes before they closed all the roads down up there and wouldn't let anybody else through because so many people were over there. I got there just in time. I didn't think I would make it in time before the roads closed down, but I made it.
Destiny to be there, and it's your destiny to do that interview. I thought the girl from NTD brought up some, she was a good interviewer. She expressed herself well, and your response was excellent.
Let me tell you now, NTD, for those that don't know, they're on YouTube, NTD News. And NTD News was actually founded by Chinese dissidents from Tiananmen Square. And they're anti-communist, Chinese-owned. And the cameraman, there were two NTD crews there. There was the girl, and she had a Chinese, I'm sure he's American now, Chinese-American cameraman, right, who spoke a lot of Chinese when he was on the phone talking to the headquarters. And then there was another crew that had an Asian American and an Asian American anchor or reporter and a camera person. And the camera people had, because you got to wear masks, they had masks, and their mask said, "Stop the CCP," which is a Chinese Communist Party. I thought that was pretty cool. I know if you saw months ago, Steve Bannon was out on a boat in front of the Statue of Liberty with someone from that, from that sector, where they're anti-CCP, and it was kind of almost reading like like a liberation article from what the CCP is doing. Yeah, I talked to the girl from NTD for a while. That interview I did was a live interview. That they were running the inauguration, and it actually, the first time it ran, I guess they cut in, there was some pause in the inauguration, and that's when it ran. And I had to wait for about 20 or 30 minutes because it was a live interview. I didn't know it was going to happen when I went there. I ran into her and I started talking to her, and she wanted to interview. But I talked to her for quite a bit. And NTD News, which I find them to be one of the best news outlets out there, I watch them every day. They really need support from people. So you guys out there, NTD News on YouTube, they really do need... I know everybody's into right side broadcasting, and they do very good work, but...
We need all the help we can get, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we got to stick together, too. I mean, and, not stop this infighting, and, ultimately, there's more of us there is of them, and our dollars, our money, the way we spend our salaries, our savings, says a lot. So,
well, yesterday, I'm going to get into more detail about this after the break, but Biden, again, I didn't watch 10 seconds of the inauguration, but I have seen some things on in the news about it. I got to know what's going on to talk about it, but I wasn't going to sit there and watch this praise of this. But, I guess the main theme from his speech, which is getting very poor reviews, is unity. And as I was saying at the top of the hour, when Biden talks about unity, he means we all agree with him, and that's unity.
Yeah.
If
Ben Shapiro said something, he said, and I take him with a grain of salt sometimes, but he did say, Biden isn't going to heal anything.
No, he's going to make it worse. If there's two things that Biden could do, if he really meant that about unity, right, as opposed to groupthink, if he really meant a coming together of the country, he would do two things. One, he would call on Nancy Pelosi to withdraw the impeachment of President Trump. Two, he would call for the reinstatement of President Trump on Twitter. If he would do those two things, that would go a long way, and people would say, you know what? I don't like him, never liked him, but I'll give him a chance. But he won't do that because they want to silence out political opposition.
Well, like the header on your YouTube post for today, this thing with Brennan, that they, we're all terrorists now.
Well, yeah, I want to get into. I want to play. Yeah, John Brennan was on MSNBC yesterday talking about. I'm going to play the clip after the break, but he was talking about Biden's plan to root out political opposition, and they just think this is the that cap. When I was with the Trump people yesterday, and people in the MAGA movement are so angry at what happened at the Capitol. anytime it came up, people are so pissed off about that because they know it's going to follow the MAGA movement and the Trump family forever. They're always going to use that against them, and they want that to be the definition of what those of us who voted for Trump are all about, and that's absurd. These agitators I saw yesterday proved to me that the stories I've heard about agitators in D.C. for the Capitol breach is true.
You know, it'll be interesting to see what Biden... I mean, they're still having big problems up in Oregon and Portland, and if this stuff continues... I mean, I saw one sign yesterday on somebody else's channel where it said they were holding up the sign, we don't want Biden, we want revenge. Revenge for what? You know?
The way
people are.
The way that Biden and his team are going to handle, because I guess, I don't know, was it BLM or Antifa out in Portland yesterday? Maybe both, or maybe they're the same, who knows, but the way they'll handle that is the media won't cover it, and they figure if the media do not cover it, it didn't happen. And it's not happening, and they'll just let them do whatever it is they want to do and not cover it. I'm serious. That's how they'll handle it. They'll do nothing about it.
I just want to say one last thing. I mean, I know this country is a melting pot. People from all different countries, all walks of life, all backgrounds, all religions. And you always say, you know, I'm Italian American, I'm Japanese American. I'd like to everybody, especially in our group, to say, you know what? I'm an American Italian. I'm an American Mexican. I'm an American Irishman. America first.
Yeah.
That more than that.
You know, I don't even know what my mother's adopted, you know. I mean, I'm white, so, but I mean, I don't know. I don't have any hyphens. I don't know if I'm English. I don't know if I'm German. I mean, I don't know if I'm Scot. I just don't. I don't get into that, and I'll tell you, you know, this thing. I had to take my dog to the veterinarian yesterday. My dog is getting most of her back teeth pulled next to it. It's a terrible thing going on, and they're liberals at the vet office, and they had ABC News on, and the inauguration was over, but they were doing the analysis with Stephanopoulos, and I was listening to it, and all they did was Kamala Harris is the first female, the first black, the first Indian, the first this, the first that, the first... You know, this is just my take on it, okay? Obviously, it's historic to have a woman. She's the highest-ranking woman in the history of our country. That's a good thing. I hope she does the right thing by it and doesn't, you know... But anyway, you know, when Obama was elected in 2008, it was a big deal. First black man, not just elected president of the United States, but the first black person that led a major nation in the world, right? There have been black presidents and prime ministers, but third world places. This was the first major country to have a black leader, and that. But when it happened in 2008, it just kind of just was a natural progression. Like, okay, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, to me, you know. And the same thing with Kamala Harris. We're at a point in our society where no one thinks that women and minorities are not capable. You know, so I don't feel it's such a big deal, because our society has gotten there. But I'll tell you, Joe Biden's first action as president of the United States was to fire the Surgeon General, to fire a black man. So while they're celebrating this diversity, the first thing he did was fire a black man.
Hypocrites.
Exactly. Hey, listen, thanks for the call.
Whatever suits their narrative, rules for thee and not for me.
That's right. All right, hey, listen, take care. I appreciate the call. All right, thank you. All right, we'll take our break. 35 minutes after the hour. We'll be in a couple seconds. I'm Brian Craig. Our number 1-888-GO-CANE-1, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back after this.
This is Brian Craig, and I want to tell you about Dr.
Welcome, everyone who's new here. Make sure you subscribe. Click that notification bell as well. Steve Kane Show.
I was starting to slow down a bit. I met
Hey, Mike, come on.
Mattez, and he found that my testosterone level was low. We men begin losing our testosterone starting at age 30, and it goes down every year after that. Dr. Mattez told me I was approaching the beginning of andropause. That's the male equivalent of menopause. I began bioidentical hormone pellet therapy. They're tiny little pellets inserted under my skin. And now my testosterone levels are being restored to where they were when I was 25 years old. Thanks to Dr. Mattez, I have more energy. Or give him a call, 561-953-5490. 561-953-5490. 5490 and tell them Brian Craig sent you.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group.
If it was buffering, just refresh. Sometimes that happens.
You're passing. Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. If you're on hold, stand by. So Brennan is back, former CIA director under Barack Obama. President Trump took his security clearance away for very good reason. Biden is sure to reinstate it. He went on cable news yesterday, Brennan, and talked about Biden, this is after Unity, Biden's plan to root out opposition. Listen to this. This is Brennan yesterday, MSNBC.
This is the most relaxed I've been in the course of many inaugurations I've watched, because I'm not responsible for it. Right. But I can tell you that when I was in the government, I had white knuckles because of the nature of the threats. But it's so much more difficult today because of what we have seen, not just over the last 2 weeks, but that certainly has riveted our attention, but because of this growth in polarization in the United States and domestic violence in white supremacist groups. So I know, looking forward, that the members of the Biden team who have been nominated or have been appointed are now moving in laser-like fashion to try to uncover as much as they can about what looks very similar to insurgency movements that we've seen overseas, where they germinate in different parts of the country and they gain strength, and it brings together an unholy alliance frequently of religious extremists, authoritarians, fascists, bigots, racists, nativists, even libertarians. And unfortunately, I think there has been this momentum that has been generated as a result of, unfortunately, the demagogic rhetoric of people that just departed government, but also those who continue in the halls of Congress. And so I really do think that the law enforcement, Homeland Security, intelligence, and even the defense officials are doing everything possible to root out what seems to be a very, very serious and insidious threat to our democracy and our republic.
Wow, even libertarians. Did you hear that? Wow. So, yeah. So, he's still in the... Trump may have taken his security clearance away, but he's still in the loop of what's going on, and probably more in the loop than he's been lately, because his friends are running the executive branch right now and are coming back in. But what Brennan is talking about is a justification under this, using the breach and declaring political opposition to Biden and insurgency to root out political opposition. And how will they do that? Well, let's hope we don't know exactly how they do that, and it never happens, because that is some of the... what's frightening about that is not just that he said it or that Biden is doing it and it's a plan they have. It's that he went on national TV and announced that they're going to root out political opposition. That's even more frightening, right? They feel so just in what it is they're doing. They feel it is so right to do that they're on national TV telling us that they're going to do it. Good morning, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Mike from Boca.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Pretty good. You guys made Populist Press yesterday.
I made what?
The Populist Press, they put you guys on their website. They said they had more people in Mar-a-Lago and Palm Beach International than they did at the inauguration.
Oh, I can believe it.
Before these. I did not watch it, but I did hear that it was a disaster. There was literally nobody there, nobody. Fox News never panned out of the elites that were up there with Biden and Harris. And Chris Wallace said it was the greatest speech he's heard since JFK.
Of course, and I'm waiting for them. I did hear that he said that. Chris Wallace on Fox News Channel said that it was the greatest inaugural speech since President Kennedy. That is insane. I mean, John F. Kennedy, he had the best speechwriters in the business ever in the history of the presidency, followed by Reagan, right? And to put anything anybody says equal to President Kennedy I've never heard of such a thing.
And the guy on CNN, he compared the lights to the arms of Joe Biden.
Yeah, I do have that. I saw that. The lights in the mall. I didn't play that, but I have this. I had it yesterday. I never got to it.
Lights that are just shooting out from the Lincoln Memorial along the reflecting pool. It's like almost extensions of Joe Biden's arms embracing America. It was a moment where the new president came to town and sort of convened the country in this moment of remembrance, outstretching his arms. And contrast that with that video you just saw of a disgraced president on his way out at his lowest point in his presidency at the very end here by himself, fighting for his political movement to live on.
Yeah, this is CNN.
I mean, the news organizations, ABC, Fox, NBC, they're just in love with it. But if you go to like Salon and Slate and Huffington Post, they barely mention it. And they barely mention the inauguration because they all know it was a fraud.
Well, I was watching last night, Greg Kelly on Newsmax TV had this guy on who was the stenographer for Biden when he was vice president. And he spent 6 years every day with Biden as his stenographer, traveling with him all over the world. And he said Joe Biden is corrupt to the core. That's what he said on Newsmax. And he worked with him every day for 6 years when he was vice president. In fact, he even made a report. He even called the FBI about things that he witnessed when he was with Biden.
I don't think the FBI's going to think they're...
No, he said they never returned his call. He said he never...
Taken off the phone for years.
Yeah.
Now, and the other caller was right. In the last 2 nights, there's been severe riots in Oregon again.
Yeah, what are they? I thought they just they got a Democrat president now. Why would they be upset?
I don't know. They were writing F. Biden. They were spray painting F. Biden at the Capitol over there. Mm-hmm. Damage. Terrible.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm glad you went. I knew you were going to go, and I'm glad you got an interview with NTD because they're a great organization.
Oh, they are, and they really need people's support.
I will watch your videos. I want to see that idiot that's trying to agitate people.
Oh no, there was two. Yeah, there's no doubt about it that the left had. I saw 2 groups of agitators trying to get the MAGA people to do something, and no one fell for it. Hey, Mike and Boca, thanks for the call. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Joey from Delray.
Hey, Joey in Delray. What's up?
How you doing, buddy? Yeah, I saw you. The interview was outstanding when you were going to see Trump. But anyway, I'd like to mention that we got a new president, and China has a new business agent. Mm. And I have to bring up this. You were talking about Bed Bath & Beyond the other day.
Yeah, dropping my pillow.
Yeah, and you know what? That's not an attack on Mr. Lindell. That's an attack on American-made products made by Americans. Because I'm sure they sell many products in their stores made in China.
Well, it's this thing with Mike Lindell. He was it wasn't just Bed Bath & Beyond. Bed Bath & Beyond, Kohl's, and Wayfair will no longer carry MyPillow products. And Mike Lindell has hundreds of employees in Minnesota. They're all made here in America. All his employees are here in America. You're right about that. But it's part of what Brennan is talking about. It's about trying to root out and silence political opposition to the left. And Mike Lindell is a very vocal supporter of President Trump, and they're out there trying to harm him and his company, his employees, as well as because of that, and to send a message to other companies: don't do business or don't come out in support of Trump, or you could be canceled too. And that I've never seen such things happen. I've never seen a corporate guy in our society during election, like look at all these Hollywood people, right? They came out yesterday for Biden, like Garth Brooks and Tom Hanks and I heard Lady Gaga was there. J-Lo was there. Most people that are conservative aren't going to say, well, I'm not going to watch a Tom Hanks movie that comes on because he was there with Biden. We don't look to cancel people because they do something like that, even though a lot of us may feel that way, but the left do. And if Biden was really about unity, he would call for a stop of that kind of business, which would start with calling on Pelosi to end the impeachment, calling on Twitter to reinstate Trump, and but they don't want unity. They want groupthink, and if you don't agree with them, watch out.
You know, Brian, sometimes I think they want this separation and this hatred. It seems to me, well, I know the media wants it. Obviously, it makes money. But it seems to me the government, it seems almost like they want a civil war or something.
The Democrats, okay, this is the thing with the Democrats. The Democrats maintain power by putting people against one another. Black against white, white against black, black against blue, Christian versus gay. They everything about the Democrats has always been, this is not new. This is their basic platform is division. And when people are united, as they were in 2016, for Trump wins. They want to have everyone divided, always, and that's how they've always been, and that's how they always will be.
Are you picking up now on the new theme of the Biden administration?
Oh, what's that?
White supremacy. That's all you're going to hear is white supremacy. That's all they're pushing.
I know. Yeah.
Every single.
And I was talking about this.
Does that not incite violence?
Well, and it's a racial stereotype. Anyone who's white who didn't vote Biden is a white supremacist in their mind, and that's stereotyping of people, which is racist. But they don't see it that way. They just see it as a reality. But I tell this to people time and time again. This idea that there's been a rise of white supremacy under the Trump era, or a rise of the Klan and these things is absurd. If white supremacists and the Klan were an active movement in America today, there was a time when they were, back in the 20s and 30s and the 60s, when they were the Democrats, they were advocating against Martin Luther King and elsewhere. But if there was really an active movement of white supremacists and the Klan, I'm not saying there aren't any of these people, but there's only a handful. If there was a real movement, a political movement, a large movement of any size, we would have heard them during the 8 years we had an African American president, and we didn't, because there is nothing that would have angered these people more than having an African American president elected and reelected, and we didn't hear from them then. Okay, and I expected to. By the way, when President Obama won in 2008, I expected that. We didn't hear anything. Now, all of a sudden, after the black president leaves, they're upset. That makes no sense at all.
Yeah, they're setting a stage, and I see it, and I hope the American people see it. And I have to bend my own rules. I don't believe on, getting back to the Mike Lindell, I don't believe in boycotting businesses, but I have to break my own rules. If he's going to boycott American workers and American-made products, I have to boycott the companies that are doing it.
Well, you got to be careful about that. Like when I was in high school, when the Exxon Valdez accident happened in Alaska. And, I was in high school. I think I was in the 10th grade because we were talking about it in school. And, the drunken captain of the tanker ran it aground and caused an oil spill and everything. People may, if you don't remember Exxon Valdez. And there was a big movement to boycott Exxon gas stations at the time, and I was a kid. I thought, oh, that's a good idea. I can understand. People are pissed. Look what they did. They didn't promote that it was a drunken captain who was drunk on the job. They just, oil was bad. And I had a very wise American government teacher, and he told the class. Because they used to show us in school these weekly CNN things that were made for school about the news of the week. And the Exxon Valdez and boycotting Exxon gas stations were in the one that week. And we were talking, and me and the kids in the class says, yeah, I'm not going to go to Exxon, even though we didn't have cars, but, and the teacher, and our teacher said, if you boycott Exxon, you're not hurting Exxon, you're hurting the local guy that owns that gas station, or the local guy that works inside the gas station that takes your money when you buy gas. You're not hurting Exxon. You're holding, so, I don't support boycotting because of that. Even if you said you didn't want to buy products for Amazon, okay, for example, if you order something from Amazon today, where's it come from? A guy that lives in our community, working his tail off, driving the Amazon van, delivers it to your house. You're hurting him. You're not hurting the guy that owns Amazon, who's like worth $1 trillion. I'm not a boycott person because of that.
Yeah, like I said, I don't believe it. I never did, but I'm willing to bend my own rules. But listen, we've gone this far. I mean, I don't know. You were very young, I'm sure, when Ross Perot was
first presidential election I voted in. I voted for Ross Perot, which really I voted for. Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say that you remember his words. You're going to hear a giant sucking sound of all the jobs with him. Remember that?
Yes, NAFTA.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the NAFTA agreement, and we've been seeing it for 40 years. If you look how far we've come, that the American corporations, American businessmen, was tempted and couldn't resist the two magic words, and you know what those words are: cheap labor.
Well, just like the insurance industry supported Obamacare because it was going to be the law to buy their product, and look what that did. Hey, listen, I got to run, but thanks for the call. All right, take care. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take a quick break and be back after this. Do not go anywhere.
Hi, Brian Craig here. We've been telling you on the Steve Kane Show.
Wow. Those of you that are new here, make sure you subscribe, all right?
Now of Coral Springs and any lab test now of Boca. One of our longtime sponsors, Dr. Mitch Mattez of the Boca Raton Center for Age Management, went to any lab test
Steve Kane Show
of Boca for coronavirus testing this weekend, and he called in live on the radio to share his experience.
Listen, Brian, I have a great experience to tell you about. I went to any lab test now on Saturday to get COVID-19 tested. And it was awesome. We had a little experience where we had somebody in our close circle that tested positive after 10 days, by the way. Went and had a test. It took 10 days to get the results. We all went into a little bit of a panic, obviously. So we called up any lab test now. It was about maybe 11:30 in the morning on Saturday. They said, come on right on over. I was anonymous. I didn't announce myself. We went over there. We got there about noon. We checked in. 2 minutes later, they took us back, did our test. We sat in the waiting room for less than 15 minutes. They brought us back, negative, and we were on our way home. And a little shout out to Brittany, the nice young lady who did our test. It was completely painless. It was quick, it was simple, it was easy, and it gave you both the IgM and the IgG antibodies, which tells you if you have the infection now or if you've been...
We're coming back in just a minute. Just over 1 minute.
Boca Raton, yeah, in the Sandalfoot Plaza.
Awesome.
It was awesome. Well, it really was. It was cool. And it's easy, it's simple, and I'm telling you, that's the way to go. Forget this 10-day nonsense.
Doctor recommended. Can I say that in the commercial now? Doctor recommended. Any lab test now of Boca Raton.
There you go. Doctor recommended. Yeah, it was really kind of cool, and it was wonderful, and it was easy. And listen, to that end, go over and get tested. This is the test you want to get. It tells you point blank, did you have it, do you have it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That's great. So Dr. Mitch Mattez personally recommending any lab test now of Boca. You heard Dr. Mitch Mattez. Any lab test.
No, we don't mind liberals here.
Doctor recommended.
Don't tell liberals to leave.
In the Sandalfoot Plaza.
They're welcome here. I used to be a liberal when I was a kid. I meet so many listeners who tell me when we do appearances that I used to be a Democrat until I listened to your show for a couple of years and I finally woke up. I hear that all the time from listeners.
Over by the Coral Square Mall. Their number 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for...
Yeah, and don't forget, any lab tests now of Boca and Coral Springs, both open on Saturdays, okay? Okay, let's go back to the phones. 1-888-GO-CANE-1. I did take the last break of the hour very late, so this will be a short segment, so I can take the top of the hour break on time, so we remain on schedule for the rest of the show, because if I don't get us back on schedule at the top of the hour, it'll be like a traffic jam backed up through the whole show. So I apologize for doing that, but I was having a good conversation with the guy, and I didn't want to break. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Brian. How are you?
All right. How are you?
I'm fine. I just wanted to let you know, I know that you said that you were interviewed by NTD, and I did see that on your podcast last night. But actually, I like to read the paper, and I was looking at the world news on BBC News, because I don't read local news over here, and you're actually in the picture, in the paper on BBC.
I'm in the BBC. Really? Can you send me that article?
Well, I'm actually disabled, and
Oh, okay. I'll try to find it.
yeah, you're on the picture. You're not only on NTD, you're world famous now.
Oh, wow. I got on the BBC. That's amazing. You can do it. Is it just a still picture? You can see me?
It's the still picture that you're sitting with your hat on. I'm 99% sure it's you.
Oh, I'll take a look.
Where you're in the crowd.
What's the article about? I'll see if I can find it. Do you remember?
It says Trump coming back or whatever, and then it's got the pictures of your.
Oh, okay. I'll look it up. I'll look it up and see if I can find it. You know, when I went to see Trump yesterday, anytime I go to see Trump, I wear the same shirt. It's the one that says Trump and it has 45 on it. That's huge because I know he always sees it, so he can see it from far away. You know what I mean? It's an unusual shirt, and it's.
I'm almost positive that's what you're wearing.
Oh, well, great. I appreciate that. I'll look it up.
And I also wanted to thank you for turning me on to Cobra Kai. I've been watching it.
Well, let me tell you something. Cobra Kai, I just watched my wife and I watched season 3 in one sitting a couple weeks ago. But Cobra Kai, especially the first season, it's an updated sequel. It's a series. It's on Netflix now to the Karate Kid movies. It is the best television show that goes back to something old like that ever produced. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. But anyway, I don't know anybody that knows Trump better than you do. But I have picked up on something that I've noticed, and it's just a little concerning to me. But I just didn't know if you have picked up on it. But it's been, he was missing for a couple days after the Capitol riot, and we were all concerned, waiting on him to come out and speak and stuff. And then he spoke, and then he probably spoke at least 5 times.
Yep.
Farewell speech and that kind of stuff. But I've noticed in those speeches, the one thing that I would know President Trump, because I follow his rallies and listen to him all the time. But it's so peculiar to me that the couple times that he has spoken, that he has not, to me, I hadn't heard him, he hadn't acknowledged the death of the Capitol Police or prayers for their family, or stuff like that. And that's not President Trump. It's very concerning to me.
Yeah. Well, big question is, I looked at the clock, it's 7 o'clock. I got to take the break for the top. But anyway, hey, listen, thanks for the call and the heads up that I made the BBC.
The BBC.
Oh, believe me, are you kidding? Of course I will. I got to take a screenshot so I can show my daughter and impress her. All right, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
Got you covered. AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell. And we do take calls live on the air, as you can see, and the number is right behind me. Click that notification. 1-888-465-2631.
pair of therapeutic shoes made specially for diabetics. You're probably not aware, but as a diabetic Medicare recipient, you are entitled to one pair of high-quality diabetic shoes with 3 custom inserts per year. These are not the ugly Frankenstein shoes. These are name-brand shoes. They're stylish. They'll provide you with the extra width and extra depth to stop.
Vinman, no, you're not blocked. I see you in there.
Before they begin. Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes. Call the Soul Authority at 954-597-7060 or online at
I do get the internet at sea, and I did on the last cruise. Hold on.
Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
On the last cruise, I did live stream from the cruise last time. Yeah, I don't do the radio show from the cruise because I could, and the cruise line would love us to do that, but. I mean, I'm having a good time partying, hanging out with all the listeners. We go to bed about 2, 3 in the morning. We're drinking all day, drinking all night. How am I going to be on the air live at 6 a.m. doing a show? But I do live stream, though, when I'm on the cruises.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA.
Not to my knowledge. About the person asking about the block?
You are listening to South Florida's longest...
I don't mostly drink coffee on the cruise. I mostly drink tequila, Patron.
That's 1-888-GO-CANE 1. And now, here...
All right, hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Someone was asking me in the chat room on YouTube Live during the break if we broadcast on the radio when we go on the cruises. And no, we don't. I do live stream on YouTube when we're on the. We got our next cruise is a year from now, a year from this month, and we're going to Aruba and 3 other great destinations on the newly refitted and remodeled and upgraded Celebrity Equinox. We took a cruise on the Equinox a couple of years back. It went in dry dock. They gutted the whole ship and rebuilt the whole inside of it, and it looks spectacular. Yeah, we're going to Aruba. Cayman Islands and a couple of other places, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but and it's a year from now. We have over 100 people have already made reservations. All of you, except Al the John, Liberal Al, are invited to go with us. And call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot, 561-244-5779. He's listed at SteveKaneShow.com, and join us. But the reason the cruise line would love us to broadcast the radio show live on the cruise, we can. I do have internet out there. But I'm usually up till about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning with our great people that come with us on our cruises, our listeners, and I'm drinking all day and drinking all night until I go to bed. I'm really not going to be in a place to broadcast a radio show at 6 o'clock in the morning when I've been doing that. And someone says, well, you drink coffee most of the time. Not on the cruise. On the cruise, I typically drink mostly not coffee but tequila, Patron, if I can, because I get the drink package and I don't have to pay for drinks. It's included. You know, you can have that too, by the way. You can choose that perk. I always do. And no, not much coffee drinking for me on the cruise. Mostly tequila. I'm serious. And if you the first night, I usually, because I don't drink. I really don't. Not very often. But when I go on the cruise, it's, you know, I go wild. And on the last one, I had way too much to drink on the first night. But, yeah, you're all invited except Liberal Al. And Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot, our travel agent, 561-244-5779. Our annual Steve Kane Radio Show cruise 1 year from now. So you got a whole year to pay for it. So call Ian and join us. All right, welcome back, everyone. Hour number 2 has begun. I want to get into this thing with Brennan, and there was something else, because I want to take your calls on this. We're in a new America today. Okay, we're in a new America, and the Republican establishment and the Democrat establishment joined forces to defeat the MAGA movement, and now they want to root out political opposition. And I watched on line this morning, there was a video made with President Clinton, President George W. Bush, and President Obama talking about coming out of the nightmare of Trump and unifying, and we're all together and we're different political parties, but we're here. And my wife pointed something out to me in the inauguration. You see, I did not watch the inauguration, okay, but I've seen some of the coverage about it. And there's a big deal made about Kamala and some of these other people wearing purple. And my wife told me that women, when women wear things, there's a lot of thought that goes into every aspect of it, including color. And Kamala and these women are wearing purple, and there was a lot of talk about this. What's that about, and what does it symbolize? And my wife hit right on it. And what my wife Kathy said is, purple is blue and red mixed. And the reason Kamala and the rest wore purple yesterday to the inauguration was to show that Republicans and the Democratic Party establishments came together to rid America of Trump. And that's exactly what that symbolized yesterday. And I haven't heard anybody else pick up on the significance of the purple, but that's exactly what it was. And I was appalled to see President Bush celebrating the inauguration of a Democrat and the Republican not being inaugurated. That was appalling to me. And those of us who supported George W. Bush, this thing about George W. Bush, I'm disgusted by him. I have been for a long time. He voted for Hillary in 2016. He voted for Biden this time, I'm sure. And, the Democrats and the mainstream media were after him in the worst way after the wars began in Afghanistan and Iraq. And they were calling him a war criminal. They wanted him tried in The Hague at the World Court for war crimes. Remember all this talk? And we stood by him, Republican voters, and defended George W. Bush and Dick Cheney through terrible times. We were there for him through the AWOL lie. We were there for him during his second campaign for re-election against John Kerry. And here on this program, we played an very instrumental role in the re-election of George W. Bush. A lot of people have taken credit for this, but those of you that were with us then know what happened. I came up with the concept for the Swift Boat Veterans for Truth ad that turned the media tide against John Kerry. Remember that ad that said it was John Edwards who was running as vice president? If you want to know about John Kerry, talk to the men who served with him 20 years ago in Vietnam, and then they had all these people from the Swift Boat Veterans for Truth in that ad. That was my concept. And we had the head of Swift Boat Veterans for Truth on this program first, before he was on any other show locally or nationally in this country. And we had a few of the Swift Boat veteran guys on, and John Edwards, when he made that comment, if you want to know about John Kerry, talk to the men who served with him 20 years ago in Vietnam. That was at the Fort Lauderdale airport at a campaign stop. I saw it on the local news, pulled it up, and I made a rough version of that commercial in radio form that we played on the air that day. And after the show was over, I played it for the Swift Boat Veterans for Truth people, and they couldn't believe, and I didn't hear from them. And then about a month or so later, I had Fox News on, and I remember clearly it was Neil Cavuto, and they had a television version of the ad. That was my concept. And that ad turned the media against John Kerry. He became a front runner to an object of ridicule in the media. A lot of things happened after that, but and George Bush betrayed me and you who supported him through those tough times. And then he went out there yesterday with President Obama and President Clinton and celebrated the victory of a Democrat and the defeat of a Republican. And I'll tell you, that was disgusting. That was disgusting. He's done this for years now. He's been against Trump since he came down the escalator. But that's just it for me with anyone connected to the Bush family. And I tell this to people often. Anytime you see these Wounded Warrior commercials, sometimes it's the Tunnel to Towers, but mostly the Wounded Warriors commercial. I think about George Bush every time they come on. Every time I see a young man who's missing limbs or his body is covered in burns. There's one in particular that's very difficult to watch. A young man just completely burned and disfigured, and he lives with his elderly parents. Some of these guys, they've got young pretty wives and young kids before they had their mishap and were wounded. This guy never even got to that part of his life. I think of George Bush, and for George Bush to go out there and talk about what a damaging person Trump is to this country. Look at what George Bush did. How many people are dead in this world because of the Bush administration, right? They lied to us about weapons of mass destruction, totally destabilized the Middle East. How many have died in the Middle East because of George Bush and Dick Cheney and their greed and ego and their lives? How many Americans, and not just Americans, how many men and women of the coalition nations are forever maimed and wounded or dead because of them, because of him, because of George Bush? And for George Bush to question the patriotism and morality of Donald Trump, it's disgusting when you look at his past. And I'm so sorry that I supported him. I'm even sorry that I came up with that ad that turned the whole... I know a lot of people take credit for that ad. PJ Gladnick from Newsbusters, who calls the show sometimes, thankfully he wrote an article about it back then to document it. I didn't realize that everybody was going to take credit for my idea, and everybody takes credit for it, but I know, my wife knows, some of you know, PJ Gladnick at Newsbusters knows, But I didn't care for that yesterday. I watched it this morning before I came in, Bush with Obama and Clinton, and it was pretty disgusting. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Nick on the phone.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Rich me, $5 super chat. Thank you.
I voted for George W. Bush twice. Man, it makes me sick. And you remember?
Yep.
Paul McCartney even made fun of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I can't stand Paul McCartney either because he's a liberal. But all of a sudden now, Bush is a great guy.
I know. And he's dignity and an elder statesman and a voice of morality and clarity. They wanted to put him on trial in the world court as a war criminal.
I mean, the hypocrisy again is the whole thing of you had a president who ended these stupid wars, and I say stupid wars. Not that no war is stupid. I mean, people get killed and maimed, but unnecessary wars is really what I should say.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And they're all making money, and I hate.
Mm-hmm.
Watch, they're going to start a war. All the good work that Donald Trump has done, these historic UAE agreements, all of the stuff, and then when I hear that evil John Brennan, all the criminals, all the Obama criminals are back in office again.
Yeah, and they, listen. President Trump was the first president not to get us involved in a new conflict in the modern era, and more soldiers in Washington than in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria combined. And you're right, they will get us involved in short order in another conflict because the donors want it.
They make money.
That's correct. Yeah, it's outrageous.
You see, Liz Cheney, and they're saying they're going to throw her out of the GOP, the chairmanship.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Big deal. The damage is already done.
Yeah, Liz Cheney they're really, it's very strange. Anytime something happens now, we got to find out what Liz Cheney thinks. There's really a move to elevate her to national leadership status in the Republican Party. It looks that way to me, at least.
All of a sudden, everybody forgets about Halliburton.
Yeah, That's right. Halliburton, it was, yeah.
When you talk about the wounded warriors, right? I mean, all that's Halliburton.
Absolutely. And you know, they talked about Halliburton, and they've even made movies about it in television series about how the corporate military interest pushed Republican policies. And I hate to say it, they were right about Bush and Cheney. And when he goes out there and questions the morality and patriotism of Donald Trump and those of us who support him, I got news for you. The same people that supported Trump supported you, Bush. So what the hell? All of a sudden, we're white supremacist Klansmen? What the hell?
That's it. Really boggles my mind.
It pisses me off.
Liberals. Oh yeah, I'm getting calls. I'm getting calls from liberals. You know, hey, did you watch the inauguration? I haven't returned their calls.
Yeah.
No, I didn't watch the inauguration. I'm not recognizing him because.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. I didn't watch it for 10 seconds yesterday. I couldn't watch it. No, I couldn't watch it. All right, hey Nick, appreciate the call.
Okay.
All right, thanks so much. Now, we were talking earlier about Mike Lindell. I mean, you know, what's going on with Mike Lindell's outrageous. He's a strong vocal supporter of President Trump. They're trying to put him out of business. He has hundreds of people that work both in his offices and in his factory, American workers, that make all of these MyPillow products. And, you know, you want to get behind and support Mike Lindell. I bought 3 things from MyPillow this week. Okay, I bought 2 bathrobes, got 30% off because I used the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. My wife wanted one in white, so I got her in one in white and myself one in gray, and saved 30% off of that. Great deal, and they make great Valentine's Day gifts, by the way. Valentine's Day right around the corner. And I bought a weighted blanket. Used the promo code KANE, myself, K-A-N-E, 30% off the MyPillow weighted blanket. That's right, great deal. There's a lot of other great deals there too. Support Mike Lindell. It's very important. I mean, you know, them losing these retail outlets is that's not good. It's not good for him. It's not good for his company. It's not good for his employees, and it's not good for the country. You know, I've never ever seen a corporation attacked in such a way just because of who they support. There was no action done. There was no incident done. He just came out and supported President Trump and asked others to do the same, and they're trying to put the guy out of business. There's a lot of other great items at MyPillow.com. You'll find something for everyone on your gift-giving list for Valentine's Day, or maybe something for yourself. The MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Buy 1 set, get a 2nd set free when you use the promo code KANE at checkout. Same deal with the MyPillow Towels. Buy 1 set of MyPillow Towels, get a 2nd set free when you use the promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. This brand new item, oh man, this is going to be next on my list of things to buy. The MyPillow throw blankets, the kind of thing you carry on use on the couch while you're watching television. Save 30% off when you use the promo code KANE. They have new 2-piece pajama sets, 30% off with the promo code KANE. Whatever special you see at MyPillow.com, you can take advantage of with the promo code KANE at checkout. And if you'd like to order by phone, you can do that as well. When you order by phone, make sure you spell it out for them, K-A-N-E, to take advantage of these deals. 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE. We'll be right back after this.
This is Lori Kane, and I want to tell you about Brighton Dental Care. I just had a lot of work done, and I avoided going to the dentist for a lot of years because I was afraid of the cost. But I went to Brighton Dental for my free consultation, which, by the way, he offers to all.
Welcome, everyone that's new here. Make sure you subscribe. Click that notification bell. I got a new podcast that I'm going to upload here on my YouTube channel later today. And if you go to my channel page, you can see my interview yesterday at Mar-a-Lago with NTD, see my encounter with President Trump yesterday, and my visit to Air Force One all the way till it took off and left town yesterday.
Reasonable. You don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633. That's 954-922.
Presidents can't sign a constitution into law. A new constitution.
Tell them Lori Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, welcome back, everyone. 21 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. It's Thursday, the 21st of January, 2021. All right, so let me get into this. This is really scary stuff. I played this one clip in the last hour, but I want to play it again, talk about it, and then I got a second that backs this up. John Brennan, Obama's CIA director, whose security clearance was taken away by President Trump, was on MSNBC yesterday. Nicole Wallace, she's a real beaut. Nicole Wallace claims to be a Republican. She worked for John McCain. And she has Brennan on talking about Biden, Biden talking about unity yesterday, talking about Biden's plan to root out political opposition. Listen to this. This is John Brennan yesterday, MSNBC, with Nicole Wallace.
That this is the most relaxed I've been in the course of many inaugurations I've watched, because I'm not responsible for it. But I can tell you that when I was in the government, I had white knuckles because of the nature of the threats. But it's so much more difficult today because of what we have seen, not just over the last 2 weeks, but that certainly has riveted our attention, but because of this growth in polarization in the United States and domestic violence and white supremacist groups. So I know, looking forward, that the members of the Biden team who have been nominated or have been appointed are now moving in laser-like fashion to try to uncover as much as they can about what looks very similar to insurgency movements that we've seen overseas, where they germinate in different parts of the country.
See, now these are Trump voters. You're now an insurgency movement.
And they gain strength, and it brings together an unholy alliance frequently of religious extremists, authoritarians, fascists, bigots, racists, nativists, even libertarians. And unfortunately, I think there has been this...
A nativist, by the way, is anyone who thinks that America first is the way to go for a president of the United States of America. That's a nativist.
Has been this momentum that has been generated as a result of, unfortunately, the demagogic rhetoric of people that just departed government, but also those who continue in the halls of Congress. And so I really do think that the law enforcement, Homeland Security, intelligence, and even the defense officials are doing everything possible to root out what seems to be a very, very serious and insidious threat to our democracy and our republic.
Okay, that's anyone who voted for Trump or wears a MAGA hat around town. I know, it's frightening, isn't it? It's beyond frightening. This is a Joe McCarthy-like Red Scare situation. But see, the reason it's not being called out for what it is, a McCarthy-like Red Scare, is because McCarthy was a Republican. The press has always been Democrat, especially back then. They were all FDR Democrats, right? So you had a Democrat press, you had a Republican senator with his Red Scare, Joe McCarthy. Or I heard someone the other day again say Joe McCartney, like he's with the Beatles. But I've heard that, I hear that a lot. But this isn't going to be called out. And I was talking about this in the last hour. What's most frightening to me is not that Biden is doing this. It's that Brennan feels so comfortable going on national television telling people that they're going to root out political opposition, and that Biden is using every agency of government under his authority to do so while he's calling for unity. Then Nicole Wallace, oh my goodness. Now that was on Nicole Wallace's show. She had a big run yesterday. Let me pull up this other clip. This is Nicole Wallace herself talking about Republicans coming on her program and what they must first do before they come on MSNBC with her. Listen, Nicole Wallace yesterday.
It would be my policy that a Republican must assert the truth before they're allowed to share any other views.
Wow. You must assert the truth before you are allowed in America with the First Amendment to express any other views. And what's the truth? It's whatever the mainstream liberal media narrative is for that particular day. That's the truth. And I know. This is, all my life I've heard people, anytime there's a new president, they talk about, oh, this is just like 1984. This is like Animal Farm. And usually, that's just rhetoric. This time around, it's the truth. If you don't speak the truth, you shouldn't be allowed to share any other opinions. And the truth is to agree with them. And she goes on, though. Let me rewind it. We'll play the whole thing. Nicole Wallace yesterday.
It would be my policy that a Republican must assert the truth
Steve Kane Show.
Before they're allowed to share any other views. And Lindsey Graham, I understand, appeared somewhere today and refused to really go far enough in beating down the lie. I want to read you something Tom Friedman...
Wow.
companies. He writes this: Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg have to surprise us by once and for all stopping the elevation for profit of news that divides.
For profit. Like Thomas Friedman and Nicole Wallace are not in this for profit, right? They work for free. Thomas Friedman and Nicole Wallace.
Stopping the elevation for profit of news that divides and enrages over more authoritative, even-handed news sources. Why? That does not seem out of reach. If we can protect against counterfeit dollar bills, we should be able to protect against...
They talk openly on the air about what their plans are and what they're going to do. It's frightening that they're openly... It's one thing to do it in secret. It's another to go out there and do it publicly. You know, when Barack Obama came in, Steve and I did something that a lot of people in the audience got upset with us about. We did it. And I'm not, this is what we did. There was a lot of division in that 2008 campaign. A lot, right? You had Reverend Wright. There was craziness going on. And after the inauguration, Steve and I said, you know what? We're going to give the guy a chance. We're going to give Obama a chance. We're not going to bring up any of these old things about him, the birth certificate, Jeremiah Wright right now. Let's only talk about what he does this moment forward. And it didn't take long before he did something ridiculous. Joe Biden's talking about unity. Joe Biden can do two things. Now, I don't think he means it. I think he means what Nicole Wallace is saying. Acknowledge the truth, which is our truth, and then you're allowed to move forward and speak. But again, you must acknowledge our truth first and only speak the truth, which is our truth. You know, Hawley yesterday and Ted Cruz, what was that about? Was Hawley there because he wanted to be or that he had to be there to move forward? If Biden really means unity in a positive sense, not groupthink, he would do two things. One, call on Nancy Pelosi to pull back on the impeachment and say, no more impeachment, no trial of President Trump. Two, call on Twitter to reinstate President Trump's Twitter. If he did those two things, I'd say, you know what? Let's give the guy a chance. He really means unity in a positive way. But you know what? He's not doing that, is he? He's got Brennan out there talking about using every agency of government to silence political opposition. He's got Nicole Wallace over on NBC. You know, Nicole Wallace said that she was a Republican in exile, that when Trump was no longer president, she would rejoin the party. Is she still in exile? Is that how Republicans talk? Republicans talk this way? You cannot come on the air unless you speak the truth. And Lindsey Graham didn't go far enough in accepting the truth and speaking the truth. These are scary times, people. You know, people in this past year, because of COVID, have gotten accustomed to rights, liberty, freedom being taken away from us like that with no legislation passed. And they're taking that conditioning of the American people to get their agenda through, and that's what you're hearing there with Brennan. That's what you're hearing there with Nicole Wallace, and you're going to hear it from more. All right, let's take our break. 31 minutes after the hour, I'm Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back after this. Do not go anywhere.
Homeowners, would you like to save money each and every month?
Steve Kane Show.
We all want to save more money.
Hey, Doug.
But how? By
Steve Kane Show.
calling
Hold on.
Advisors, that's how. At 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. And have their expert team review your homeowner's policy. I Will Advisors will review your policy at no charge. Most
Steve Kane Show.
never review their policy, but it should be reviewed every year. You commercial property owners, same goes for your property insurance policy. So what are you waiting for? Call I Will Advisors and start.
Yeah, well, I can't talk off the air. I'm too busy. If you want to go on the air, I'll talk to you. But
954-753-8080.
Okay.
Brian Craig here. You've heard us talk about the great low prices Friendly Tire has on new tires and used tires. They also do tire repairs. Listen to one of our listeners talk about their experience at Friendly Tire in Margate.
Hey Brian, My name is Mike. Just wanted to call and say thank you. I had a problem with my car. I had a flat tire. It was going down really quick. I'm in Coral Springs. I had to go somewhere close by. They couldn't really fix it. So I remember you guys are talking about Friendly Mike at Friendly Tires. So I said, listen, Mike, I need a couple of tires. I told him my socks. He goes, I got them. I go, I'll see you tomorrow. They were really cheap. I go over there, and Mike said, which tires do you want to replace? They look relatively new. I said, they are. I just got a big hole in that one. And they said they couldn't be fixed. He goes, pull your vehicle in. I pulled the vehicle in. He took the tire off. He pulled out the plug that the guy in Coral Springs put in there, and he heat shielded it. He kind of patched it or whatever they call it. I don't know what they call it. And he goes, you don't need any tires.
Well,
he goes, I fixed that one. Give me $20. But the guy in Coral Springs wanted $500 for 2 tires. I just wanted to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day.
Give Mike at Friendly Tire a call right now. We'll give you a quote right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Don't waste time going anywhere else. You will never find prices as low as Friendly Tire in Margate.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, welcome back, everyone. 34 minutes after the hour, I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. Steve joining us. Hey, Steve.
Very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen, and you.
Yes.
Too, Brian. I just out of curiosity, I might have missed something, but I've been, obviously this is kind of like a turning point, the new administration coming in, a lot of questions as to what it's going to be like. Has anybody said anything yet that I missed? The big issue that I see is, pro or con as to whether they're going to follow through with that second impeachment. That's the bellwether issue. But nobody's made any comment on that I've heard. Have you?
There was something yesterday morning that McConnell is moving forward with the trial, and that he told Trump that if he were to pardon Assange, that he would definitely be convicted in it.
Mitch
McConnell said the impeachment trial will happen. They haven't set a date yet, but it will happen. And that he told Trump on his last day in office that if he pardoned Julian Assange, he would definitely be convicted.
Okay, which Trump did not do.
He didn't pardon Julian Assange, unfortunately, but he did say, though, that regardless of that, McConnell, the trial will go on. Yeah, so he just didn't set a date.
Where did he make this statement?
It leaked out. He didn't come out and have a press conference. It came out through people inside the White House.
Okay, and why are you so certain that that's right?
No.
I would think, and this is just my, kind of like a common sense evaluation. It seems to me, if that was a decision that had been officially made and they were really going to do it, it seems to me that would be all over the.
Oh no, there's all kinds of signs about it.
Announced officially, they wouldn't let that float around.
No, they're celebrating Biden right now, but they, yesterday when President Clinton, Bush, and Obama came together. And Bush, you could tell they're not done with Trump yet. They want to make sure that he can't run again. So, yeah, I think that was an indicator, too. Yeah, the trial's going to happen, I think. Yeah.
Well, okay. I just would be more comfortable if reacting to the announcement after it had been made.
Oh, no, it's been widely reported that McConnell told Trump the trial was happening and that, it's been widely reported. Yeah, it was all over yesterday morning.
And the president had no official comment on it?
No.
It had no official.
No.
Does that sound like Trump to you?
He hasn't commented on a lot of things that have been coming out lately.
No, that's the big one. I mean, isn't that really?
It's hard for him to comment.
It's this word that keeps sticking in my head. Bellwether. It seems to be the issue that everybody is focused on when they point to whether this is going to be a smooth transition, whether everybody's going to get along, and all this kind of.
Well, it's not. I'll play this clip again. Brent, did you hear the clip I played of Brennan? You know, Brennan said that Biden is using all agencies of government to root out political opposition yesterday. So no, they are not. No, they are going after Trump and those around him. Yeah, yeah.
If that's the case, it's pretty outrageous.
And they're doing it even more so since they now control all these agencies officially again. They're really making the move. I know, it's terrible, and
shocks me.
Well, the story that came out yesterday that Newsmax announced it, and they seem to be like this was official that Trump is going to start this third party. They talked about it a lot yesterday on Newsmax TV. That even firms it up to me that they're going to make a move to have the impeachment trial and try to prevent him from holding federal office because they're afraid, the Republicans are afraid of that third party. Afraid of it, and
I find that hard to believe. I mean, I would have been surprised if it went the other.
And McConnell's not in charge anymore. McConnell's not in charge of the Senate anymore. It's Schumer. Because it's 50-50, and you've got Kamala Harris. So McConnell doesn't decide, can't decide that there's no impeachment trial. It's up to Schumer and Kamala now. So I think that means it's going to happen.
All right.
I mean, why would Schumer not want to have the trial of Trump?
No, I don't, as I said, I don't find it hard to believe. I find it hard to believe that if a decision like that had been made, it wouldn't be.
Well, they're celebrating Biden right now. Give them some time to get official, And by the way, a lot of people out there, including Kamala, to call her Kamala is racist, right? Remember they were saying that. Call her Kamala, not. What does she say? It's called Kamala? Is how you're supposed to say it? To say Kamala is racist.
Wait a second.
No. She says to say Kamala is racist. Her name is Kamala. Well, yesterday.
You don't plan on losing a lot of sleep over that, I'm sure.
Well, I'm leading into something. Steve. I'm not just bringing up random stupidity. No. This was a big thing. And even in the mainstream media, on CNN and MSNBC, they were attacking people, calling them racist because they called her Kamala and not Kamala. I know it seems ridiculous, but it's true.
Step boy.
Yeah. Well, yesterday, I'm bringing it back up because yesterday, when she took the oath of office, Kamala Harris, she was sworn in by Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor, one of the Obama picks, and she called her Kamala. Listen.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear. I, Kamala Davy.
Yeah. So Sonia Sotomayor called her Kamala, not Kamala, and I don't know if she. I'm trying to hear what Kamala said. Let me hear what Kamala called herself.
Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear. I, Kamala Davy Harris.
It sounds like that Kamala called herself Kamala and not Kamala. I guess they just were trying to discount people's analysis of her by calling her Kamala was a racist, because it's now back to Kamala. All right, listen, our number toll-free 1-888-GO-KANE 1-888-465-2631. You're on the radio. Go ahead.
Good morning, conservative Doug, gentlemen.
Hey.
Okay, now don't you just love this McConnell guy? My God, what a pleasure having him as the ex-head of the Republican. This guy really, if he gets any votes, I'll be shocked.
Well, McConnell said that they've said who's now, I guess, is he officially the minority leader because it's 50-50, but then they got Kamala, so Schumer's the majority leader, I believe now. Mitch McConnell said that he's now the head of the Republican Party when it still should be Donald Trump.
Well, it's funny you say that. I had a phone call from a heavy-duty Democrat who I mentioned that, well, we're going to start the mega party, hopefully. He said, oh, that's great, because that'll split the vote. Then the Republicans aren't going to go away, and the mega party and the Republicans, and then the Democrats will win everything for sure. So,
well, it doesn't seem that Mitch McConnell minds that. And I love how, I like Tucker Carlson, but all of a sudden he's making a big deal about Mitch McConnell's ties to China through his wife. All of a sudden, a little late, Tucker.
Yeah, a little late, but
he finally said, Peter Schweitzer was right about McConnell. No kidding. When he wrote that book 3 years ago, Tucker?
This is a terrible time we're in. And, how about this? Isn't it interesting how everybody had such a worry about security, but nobody seemed to look too worried yesterday. So I guess there really wasn't it was just a big thing not to show that Biden can't get anybody to come.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to see a real riot, they had on the conservative channel, US 1 or whatever.
One American News.
One American News. They had pictures from last year's ceremony, and you want to see real riots.
Oh, I mean, when Trump was inaugurated in 2016? Yeah.
I'd forgotten how bad.
Yeah, they were burning places down. Yeah.
They were. Go ahead.
What I was going to say is, if Biden wants to heal the country again, maybe he should say, all right, no, there should be no impeachment of President Trump.
Well, he would if he planned on getting along, but he's not planning.
See, and because and Biden is in a unique position to stop it now because the Senate's 50-50. Kamala's the tiebreaker. He just has to tell Kamala no on an impeachment trial, and it's over. So, unity, as I was talking about this earlier, when Biden says unity, he means agree with him. Then we're all unified. That's unity. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not being funny. That's what he means.
Oh, I know. I laugh at the sadness of the fact that now they only want truth. There's only their truth. As long as it's fine.
You think Trump, from everything we know about him, he's definitely a man with a plan. He's got something formulated in his head. Take a little stab at how you think this is going to play out in Trump's mind.
Well,
what do you think he's planning?
I think Trump has got the plan. He's going to run again because everybody wants him to run.
But how? I need more specifics than that. Since you're allowed to make it up, you might as well come up with a good story with some detail. How do you think he sees it?
He sees it as it's all going to blow over. The Republicans, the Democrats never do anything really except a little talk a lot, and they'll go back to the climate accord. He'll start the mega.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me you don't think that this impeachment thing is going to happen?
I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to just blow over.
Really? Why would that? Why would Schumer and Kamala Harris not want to have an impeachment trial of Trump?
Because they know, number one, it's unconstitutional.
Oh, they care about the Constitution? Come on.
But they know they'll never get 3/4 of a vote. I don't believe.
But they don't care. They don't care. They want to humiliate Trump even further, and
give it their best shot.
Yeah, and I watched some of the analysis yesterday. See, a lot of you guys refuse to watch anything other than news you agree with. You've got to go over to CNN and MSNBC every once in a while to know what's really going on, as opposed to hearing people tell you what you want to hear. And I watched a little bit of CNN and MSNBC in the afternoon, yesterday. I did not watch 1 second of the inauguration. I waited till it was over. But they're talking about Trump's responsibility in the breach on the Capitol all day, every day. They call it Trump's insurrection. So now, believe me, they are going forward with the trial, and it's up to Schumer, not McConnell anymore. So McConnell wants to do it, and now he's got his out. Well, I'm not in charge now. It's Schumer and Kamala. You know what I mean? It's McConnell's out. I don't want to do it, but I don't run things anymore. Hey, Doug, thanks for the call. We'll take our last break of the second hour and be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network, WWNN, Pompano Beach.
This is Steve Kane. We are here this morning with William Youngerman.
Hey guys, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell, all right?
The show. Wanted to ask you the big question, the big one that everyone wants to know. With gold, when's a good time to buy, and when do you sell?
Okay, and the answer to the question, when do you sell, goes back to why did you buy it in the first place? When the reason you bought it is fulfilled, it's time to sell. Or when the reason that you bought it no longer exists, it's time to sell. In 1980,
oh, nothing surprises me either.
$150, and people had bought gold all the way up to that level, and at that time, the reason to own gold changed dramatically because we had 25% interest rates all of a sudden. The government said we will stop inflation no matter what, and they did so with very high interest rates. That reason for owning gold then changed, and we dramatically told our customers in the 1980s, sell your gold, sell, it's finished.
Steve Kane Show.
Okay, that was a reason. Now,
Steve Kane Show.
Some people held on because they said,
yep, Steve Kane Show.
As my insurance policy. Insurance policy, you don't necessarily buy and sell your
Hold
life
on.
insurance policies. You have it for a particular reason. And some of your money should always be in gold, regardless of what the price is doing. Historically, we've always said at least 5%. At this particular time, we recommend much higher percentage of our assets being gold, silver, and platinum.
We all did, Sarah. All of us did.
When to
Right?
sell it. If that is fulfilled, that's the time to sell it. But it must go along with the fact that you understand that gold is the only real money in the world. It is the only thing that has no IOUs or attached to it. It is an insurance policy, and it is a hedge against inflation, and it's the only real money that will maintain its buying power for you in the long term.
Okay, well that answers that question. If the question becomes where, well, I can tell you where. William Youngerman, Inc., located at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca. You can drop by. It's in the Bank of America building, right on the first floor, opposite the Bank of America. You can call William at 1-800-327-5010 or go to the website at williamyoungerman.com.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, welcome back. Our number 1-888-GO-KANE-1. I'm Brian, the Steve Kane Show. Steve here. I wanted to play this clip. I played it earlier. This is pretty frightening. This is Nicole Wallace, the afternoon girl over there on MSNBC, talking about the new world that we are in.
My policy that a Republican must assert the truth before they're allowed to share any other views. And
wow, okay, so yeah, you've got to assert the truth before you can share any other views in America from this point forward. And the truth, of course, is whatever the media say it is that particular day. She goes on, listen.
Hair on the back of my neck standing.
Oh yeah, it's scary. Listen to the rest.
That a Republican must assert the truth before they're allowed to share any other views. And Lindsey Graham, I understand, appeared somewhere today and refused to really go far enough in beating down the lie. I want to read you something Tom Friedman wrote, though, about social media companies. He writes this: Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg have to surprise us by once and for all stopping the elevation for profit of news that divides and enrages.
See, Nicole Wallace apparently and Tom Friedman work for free, Steve. Anyone who gets paid for news needs to be stopped.
Over more authoritative, even-handed news sources. Why? That does not seem out of reach. If we can protect against counterfeit dollar bills, we should be able to protect against fake news that we now know has the potential to kill people.
Wow, and that's a reference to the Capitol Hill breach, by the way. So they're going ahead full steam. Is that frightening? You've got to acknowledge the truth, then you can speak.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, let me play the next one. I played this earlier, but I want you to. This is Brennan. Brennan's back now, and he apparently he's working for Biden in some capacity, and he was on Nicole Wallace's program yesterday and talked about what Biden is doing, well, it speaks for itself. This is John Brennan yesterday.
Say that this is the most relaxed I've been in the course of many
Steve Kane Show.
I've watched because I'm not responsible for it.
Yep.
I can tell you that when I was
Steve
in the
Kane Show.
government, I had white knuckles because
Yep.
of the
Hold on.
nature of the threats. But it's
Steve Kane
so
Show.
much more difficult today because of what we have seen,
Hello?
not just over the last 2 weeks, but that certainly has
Hold on.
divided our attention.
Steve Kane Show.
Because of this growth in polarization
Hold
in
on.
the United States and domestic violence and white supremacist groups.
Yeah.
So I know looking forward that the members of the Biden team who have been nominated or have been appointed are now moving in laser-like fashion to try to uncover as much as they can about what looks very similar to insurgency movements that we've seen overseas, where they germinate in different parts of the country and they gain strength, and it brings together an unholy alliance frequently of religious extremists, authoritarians, fascists, bigots, racists, nativists, even libertarians.
Now, a nativist, by the way, is somebody who says, yeah, even libertarians. A nativist is...
What do you say? Libertarians.
No, he said libertarians and nativist, which means make America great again, hat wearers, and listen.
Libertarians. And unfortunately, I think there has been this momentum that has been generated as a result of, unfortunately, the demagogic rhetoric of people that's just departed government, but also those Trump continue in the halls of Congress. And so I really do think that the law enforcement, Homeland Security, intelligence, and even the defense officials are doing everything possible to root out what seems to be a very, very serious and insidious threat to our democracy and our...
That's anyone who voted for Trump or wears MAGA gear. Biden is using every agency of government to root you out. That was just yesterday, all in one show. Is that frightening to you?
It's pretty terrifying.
So before we open up our microphones every day, we must publicly acknowledge the truth, and then we can move forward with the program, apparently, according to Nicole Wallace.
God, they don't even know how that sounds.
It's Joe McCarthy.
Worse.
Yeah.
Well, you can't get worse than Joe.
I think we're there, Steve.
There.
You know why? You know why this is worse than Joe McCarthy? Because Joe McCarthy was a Republican senator, and the media were all FDR Democrats back then, and they were challenging him. So, we don't have that now. Now the media is working with Joe McCarthy here. So this is not being, and they're talking this way on national television without even thinking that it's something wrong with doing this.
That's the scariest part of all. They're so comfortable with it they can just say it.
That's America. All right, let's take some calls. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, there. Okay, there you go. Good morning. You're on the radio. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Benjamin from Colorado.
Hey, Benjamin.
Benjamin, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
So I just wanted to share something with you guys. Just real briefly. I'll be real brief. I was listening to some lawyer, and I decided to check it out. I was listening to some law things, and there's one thing. It falls under federal chapter, Title 16, Chapter 35. It's 16-3501. And the thing is, it's called quo warranto. And what it is the president, and in reality, any U.S. citizen can do this. They can petition the D.C. Attorney General for an application, and they can sue Biden on the basis of him usurping the presidency. And
yeah, okay. Now that I imagine that'll probably that sounds like a good discussion for a classroom at Hillsdale Law School or something. But I think what you're talking about will happen. There's a phrase you have, Steve, on the 5th of never. The 12th of never. I'm sorry, I misquoted you. I thought it was the 5th of never, but it's that'll happen on the 12th of never. So, hey, listen, appreciate the call, though. You're on the radio. What's your name? Good morning. Yeah.
Sonny Hines from Badeville, Kentucky.
From what? Sonny from what?
Kentucky.
Oh, Sonny in Kentucky. Mitch McConnell country. How you doing? Well, good.
I just wanted to call and tell you thank you. I enjoy watching your show. And then I enjoyed watching the video of you going watching the plane fly.
Oh, yes.
That was awesome.
Did you happen to catch my interview with NTD?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was like...
And I seen where you was talking to that lady, talking to her, doing the hers, and then where you was up there, and then there was, I heard background that the kids asking was there any alligator.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Hey, listen, Kentucky, thanks for calling. Oh, Steve, let me tell you. Let me take a call or two, and then after we take a break, I got to tell you a couple things that happened to me yesterday. Let's see here. You're on the radio. What's your name?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, Mike from North Dakota.
Hey, Mike.
Mike.
Hey, so, real quick, well, Biden had, signed executive orders yesterday, and one of them was to stop the Keystone Pipeline, and now I know firsthand, people that I've worked with have lost their jobs already because of that.
Well, I read an article this morning that said immediately 11,000 will lose their jobs, which are 11,000 families. And I imagine, that's not just, those are just the people on the pipeline. What about the businesses around, the gas stations, restaurants, convenience stores? You know what I mean? The construction site.
We are already feeling that because oil had dropped, and so I mean, in this little town that I'm in Watford City, it used to be booming. I came back here in 14 when I first came up here, and it was booming. You talk about from a town that only had 1,500 to a town that went up to 10,000. In a span like that, it just boomed. But with him signing those executive orders for that Keystone Pipeline, it literally just yesterday, people got back from work, went to the office, and now we're done.
Went to lunch, came home from lunch, and that was it.
Yeah, yep. They and I thankfully I still have my job, but I mean I just showed up to work this morning, and I'm waiting to hear if I still have mine.
What exactly do you do that's pipeline related?
I'm a measurement technician. I work on the midstream side, so I have to make sure the amount of oil that's coming out of the ground is what is.
Okay. The thing about when I was a kid growing up, the Alaska pipeline was the big thing. And the left were opposed to the Alaskan pipeline. It was going to destroy wildlife, oil spills. That pipeline's been there for almost 50 years. There hasn't been one accident. And I learned something about it. Sometimes you'll see this on the nature channels. The wildlife love the Alaskan pipeline because, I did not know this, Steve, the oil inside the pipeline is hot. So it creates warmth around the pipeline, and animals, deer, all the animals, they live around the pipeline because it brings them warmth. Never been an accident.
They're going to have to find a new source of...
Yeah, and people are going to have to find a new source to eat because Biden's putting them out of work. But hey, AOC's happy.
The pipeline, and my dad worked on the pipeline in Alaska in the 70s.
Not one accident. 50 years or however long it's been there. Not one accident. And the Keystone pipe, oil is, without a pipeline like the Keystone, oil is transported mostly by rail, which is a lot more dangerous than, but the people that own the rail and own the train companies and own the railroads are big donors to the politicians, and that's why that's the real opposition to the pipeline.
And you know who the biggest guy who owns the rails are, right?
Yeah, I forgot his name.
Warren Buffett.
Yeah, Warren Buffett, that's right. Obama's buddy. Warren Buffett owns most of the railways, that transport oil. Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's the real reason they oppose the Keystone Pipeline. It's not environmental. It's Warren.
It's definitely not environmental. When they had that protest, Standing Rock protest.
Yeah.
That was mainly what it was. They riled up the natives around here, and it was to.
Well, when you say natives, you mean Indians. How do you know they're real American Indians and not like Hispanics?
Well, for one, a guy I worked with, he's off the reservation here. He's a native here.
Let me ask you, the reservation there, like we have the Seminole Indians here in Florida, and they're rich because of the casinos. Are your North Dakota Indians wealthy?
Depending on what.
Oh, see, your friend's probably from the bad side, I'm guessing. Hey, listen, thanks for the call. We got to run. We're a little late. It's 2 minutes after 8. If you're on hold, stand by. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane here, of course. My name's Brian Craig. We'll come back with the third hour of this Thursday morning edition of Florida's longest-running radio show. Right after this. Don't go anywhere.
We've got you covered. AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
I'm Dr. Janae Lamaski. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. 2020 has been the year of coronavirus. So many of us have been locked in our homes for long periods of time. This can bring on...
Welcome. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe, all right?
Other worries,
click that notification bell, too. I got a new podcast coming up on the channel today. So.
These are all significant in affecting our mental health. If you are experiencing these difficulties, give me a call at 561-777-2021. That's 561-777-2021. Medicare and TRICARE accepted. I'm available telehealth as well as in-office appointments. Give me a call at 561-777-2021.
Hi, this is George Corey of the Soul Authority. In this time of social distancing and sheltering in place, many people have been forced to neglect their feet. We at the Soul Authority are making it possible for you to still take care of your feet while remaining in your home, as we will send a doctor to your house for all of your podiatric needs. The best part of all is that Medicare pays for this visit. So, if you're a Medicare recipient, give the Soul Authority a call today at 954-597-7060. That's 954-597-7060. Don't let social distancing stop you from taking care of your feet. Call the Soul Authority today.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout.
Yes, I know what you mean, Sarah.
Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll free 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show.
Bartering? Yeah.
Free. Dial 1-888-GO-GAIN-1. That's 1-888-GO-GAIN-1. And now, here's Steve.
All right, third hour has begun. I'm Brian, Steve Kane here. And Steve, I did something for you the other day. You know, we were talking about this oppression that one of President Trump's closest friends, Mike Lindell, is dealing with. You know, there's no corporate CEO of a national company that is a bigger supporter of President Trump than Mike Lindell. Bed Bath & Beyond, Wayfair, and Kohl's, which I've always shopped at Kohl's. No more. They are no longer carrying MyPillow products. And I was telling everyone yesterday, Steve, but you weren't with us yesterday. Day before yesterday, I got a call from Mike Lindell's office they wanted us to thank the listeners of the Steve Kane Show for all the support they've shown for MyPillow. They've gotten a tremendous response from this audience, and we're Valentine's Day right around the corner. Every special at MyPillow.com you can take advantage of with the promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. I used your name and bought some things, Steve, this week from MyPillow. I bought my wife and myself. I got 2 of the MyPillow bathrobes. My wife wanted one in white. I got one in gray, but they come in many other colors, including pretty and pink. And the reason I got mine in gray. Yeah, I got the gray because, you know, I'm usually wearing my robe while I'm lounging around the house and it gets dirty, you know what I mean? So the gray doesn't show as much. So I got the 30% off because I used the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. And I ordered you something, too, that's on its way. You'd mentioned the other day you wanted the MyPillow weighted blanket. I ordered one for you. It is on its way. And, yeah, it's coming to my house because I'll give it to you. I was afraid if I send it to your house, you have so many people there, they might take it for themselves because this is it's such a great thing. Yeah, exactly.
Nothing like that weighted blanket. Incredible. incredible.
Well, I used your name again, Kane at checkout, and I got 30% off the MyPillow weighted blanket.
Regular basis with Mike.
Well, this is my card. I use my own card. I just used your name to get the discount because it's 30% off both the bathrobes and the weighted blanket with the promo code Kane, Kane. So so when I get the MyPillow weighted blanket in the mail, I'll meet up with you and hand deliver it to you.
Will it be here in some?
Oh yeah. I'll have it. I'll probably have it tomorrow or by the weekend. Yeah, absolutely.
The expression.
No, the regular shipping, it'll be here well in time for Valentine's Day. So, listen, guys, a great way for you to support the program here, the Steve Kane Show, and support Trump's friend, Mike Lindell, is purchase these MyPillow products. And a lot of our new listeners that are around America that may not be able to use some of our local sponsors, like Any Lab Test Now of Boca, or, because a lot of our sponsors are local. If you're an out-of-town person, a great way to support the show is by purchasing these MyPillow items that I'm talking about right now. Use the promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You can also order by phone, because I know a lot of you would like to order by phone. The number, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879 to order by phone. Make sure you use the promo code Kane, Kane, on the phone as well to take advantage of these deals. I wanted to, before we go back to the phones, I wanted to tell you a couple things that happened to me yesterday when I went up to see President Trump and how it relates to the Capitol breach. This was amazing. I was 5 feet away from the president yesterday, and he looked spectacular. There was a large... The road was lined up from the airport to Mar-a-Lago with hundreds upon hundreds of Trump supporters. I mean, it was amazing. And I was in this area that was as close to Mar-a-Lago as Secret Service would allow you to go. And a lot of Trump people there. And there was this one guy, Steve, that he was wearing MAGA everything, hat, shirt, everything. I mean, I was wearing a MAGA shirt and a MAGA hat too, but this guy, he even went beyond that. And he had the biggest mouth you could imagine. And across the street from us, and I was in an area where there was some media too, some conservative online media and television media. There was one guy across the street with a Biden flag. And this guy that was wearing all the MAGA gear with the big mouth near me was trying to rile the crowd up of MAGA supporters to start something with the Biden guy across the street. And he was going on and on and on, trying to get us riled up, trying to get an argument, trying to get a fight going. And the Trump people in the crowd, first they said, when he first started, it's like, calm down, that's not what we're about, and he kept going, and then people, none of us know each other, none of them know him, but we're all brothers and sisters with Trump, with MAGA, and people started saying to him, you're not one of us, you're Antifa, you're an agitator, you're like those guys we heard about at the Capitol trying to get us into a conflict, get out of here, you're anti, and he left. And he probably found another group of Trump people. I don't know what happened there, but he was trying to rile us up. He was an undercover agitator. And then, after I saw the president and all that ended, I went over to the airport to see Air Force One because it was going to take off, and there were hundreds of Trump people at the airport watching. The president wasn't on Air Force One. He was at Mar-a-Lago, but we watched it and we watched it take off, and it was a sad time. But it was a sad time. But there were hundreds of Trump people there. We're all wearing our MAGA gear. People got flags, MAGA flags, and everything. And then I see this pickup truck pull up, and it's got two Biden-Harris flags in the bed of the pickup truck, and it's blasting Bruce Springsteen's "Born in the USA." And it pulls into where the crowd is watching Air Force One, and I look over at it. And by the way, I put this all on YouTube, guys, so you can see this for yourselves. Don't just take my word for it. This thing, and I look around, and I see the Biden-Harris flags, and I'm thinking, who would, it's America. You can go anywhere you want with your flags, but why would they be here? There's hundreds of Trump people. Who are these people with the Biden flags in the back of their truck? This is strange. And then the truck moved, and it was Black Lives Matter. The truck had painted on it in logos Black Lives Matter. And they were there trying to instigate, and they stayed there for a few minutes, blasting Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA, expecting something. No one even acknowledged them because MAGA people are peaceful people, and then they drove off playing Bruce Springsteen. But I was at two different Trump events, hundreds of Trump supporters at each, miles apart. In both instances, liberal agitators were trying to infiltrate to cause violence. It was amazing that not only that they tried to do that, but how the Trump supporters said, just like the Capitol, they're agitators. They're trying to get us to do something. We're peaceful people. I mean, that was... Yeah, I couldn't believe. I mean, I just couldn't believe that I was... And it really firmed up my beliefs about agitators at the Capitol breach, because I saw them try to do it yesterday here in South Florida. You got to be careful, guys, but our MAGA people stood strong and didn't take the bait.
What do you... If you had to take a guess as to the time frame that exists in Donald Trump's mind as to when he's going to start to become active again, taking his campaign out of dormancy and, getting it functioning again. What would you guess?
Any day, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I say that. When I saw him yesterday was about 5 minutes before Biden's inauguration. He was still the president, right? Officially and legally, Trump. And he had the whole presidential motorcade with him, with all the security, the nuclear football guy, everything, right? Because he was still, the inauguration hadn't happened yet. He got to Mar-a-Lago. When I went back to Air Force One, a huge chunk of those people left with Air Force One, right? I mean, he has people there with him, but it's not the same. Ivanka said in 2016 that her dad never takes a vacation. So I'm thinking, what's he going to do? Lounge back at Mar-a-Lago with his feet up and watch TV? This guy never takes vacations even before he was president. He's not going to sit around in retirement up there. There's no way. There's no way. So
what I hear you saying is that he's going to start probably as early as this week or next week to have meetings.
I'm sure he's already having meetings, but I mean, like an official announcement, he's going to wait until this media pep rally of Biden stops for the inauguration. Give that a few days.
Man, I mean, just because we've kind of decided that event is going to occur with the trial to try to see that he can get impeached a second time.
Yeah.
Right away.
It'll happen soon. Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't already start it yesterday.
And, well, he's got to, he loses all claim to neutrality when he starts that battle. Automatically back in the wars again.
Yeah.
It'll happen fast.
Yeah.
A day without Trump is a day just like, awful.
Well, you should have come with me to Mar-a-Lago yesterday. You could have saw him. And by the way, Steve, when I was 5 feet away from him, which is as close as you can get in this era that we're in. He looked better. I've seen him many times in person, up close. He looked better yesterday than any other time I've seen him. Yeah, I was very surprised. All right, let's... look, we have Richie the bus driver. Hey, Richie.
Yeah,
what's up, Rich?
Yeah, good morning, Steve, and good morning, Brian. Nicole Wallace is so rich. They're all so rich. All of a sudden, the holier-than-thou news conferences and the news, they talk about lies. They spend 4 years of a lie every day and attack the President of the United States every day for a lie. I mean, so they're the biggest hypocrites in the world.
Steve Kane Show.
After the trial, if I was President Trump,
hey, Barry.
Say, bring
Steve
it
Kane
on.
Show.
Because if you read the Constitution,
hey, hold on.
not only are the dog and pony show, okay, the statute in the Constitution says you have to convict and remove the president. And he's already been removed. They can't do it twice. They're like,
all these guys act as, what Obama says about the Constitution? He says it was a document. It was a document written by white racist slaveholders for the benefit of maintaining white supremacy. So, when you guys talk about Democrats and what the Constitution says, I mean, I'm surprised. Don't you hear how ridiculous that sounds? Here's what they're. Let me finish. What they're talking about doing, because I do watch a little bit of CNN and MSNBC, which I think everyone should do, so you can hear what they're doing. But they tell you everything. Like these things I played from Brennan and Wallace today. They understand they can no longer remove him from office, that it's symbolic at this point. But they're going to make a move to pass some type of resolution which they believe will present him with the inability to hold federal office in the future and forbid him from fundraising for political candidates in the future. And anything can be challenged, but they control the process right now. They have complete control of the federal agencies. There's no balances, there's no checks and balances in government at this point.
well, I tell you what, the swearing in was one thing yesterday, okay? But the 17 or 16 executive orders, I hope Democrats call you up. One order in that whole thing helps the American people.
See, this is when they love it. Every time, this is what liberals think. Every time Biden signs his name, they think he's writing "screw Trump," and they love it. They don't care what it is. I mean, think about it. Yesterday, I was talking on the show about this yesterday. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris combined have put more black men and women in prison for long prison sentences than any other two people combined in the history of this country. Biden's first act after his inauguration yesterday was to fire the Surgeon General, who's a black man. First thing he did was fire a black man, right? One of the highest ranking African Americans in our government. Media doesn't even respond. So that's their unity. Hey, Richie, appreciate the call. As I'm driving around town, this is because of the epidemic. I'm noticing license plates from other places, Pennsylvania, a lot of Pennsylvania, a lot of Georgia, we got a lot of transplants in Florida, more so than usual because of the pandemic. And let me tell you, Attorney Barry Siegel, those of you that are new to Florida, you need to call Barry Siegel because you can go through probate in 2 states if you don't have things set up properly. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Barry, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Hey, Steve. I'm doing great. We call our firm, the Siegel Law Group, the Peace of Mind Law Firm, and our motto is protection for your loved ones, peace of mind for you. And I'm really excited that we've completed a booklet, a peace of mind booklet that's now available that really goes into how estate planning provides peace of mind, why it's so important, some of the other areas that we talk about, the elder law and probate, and it really gives good insight. And we have that available now. If anybody would like a copy of it, we now have it available, a digital version. You can call our office and ask for Maria, and she will make sure that gets emailed. It's also available if anybody wants to find it on my LinkedIn page. If they go to my LinkedIn page, it's been posted, and then it's also in the process of being printed. And if you want a printed version, speak to Maria, and she'll put you on the list and get it sent out to you as we get that as well. So the Peace of Mind booklet, we're really excited because that's a
great idea.
It's a lot of information. Yep.
Yeah. And I'll tell you another thing, Barry. I'm on your email list, and you guys should get on this. I get all your estate planning information that you send out to clients. I'm on that list where I get it, and there's always great information because a lot of attorneys they do your work for you. You never hear from them again. Attorney Barry Siegel, you keep a relationship with your clients that you help because things are changing. They need to update their documents from time to time, and this is very important. Listen, guys, give Attorney Barry Siegel a call. It's a completely free consultation if you mention you heard about him on the Steve Kane Show. The number over there, 855, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Barry, we will finish out the week tomorrow. All right, take care. Take care. Oh, man, I tell you, we are in some... I know, it's not as pleasant of a time as we want, but I think Kamala and Biden, everything they're doing, it's going to be a train wreck. So believe me, they're not. Yesterday was a pep rally. Today will be analyzing the pep rally, but it won't take long before these two start doing things and saying things that get them in all kinds of trouble. You know, the press secretary came out, had her first press conference yesterday, and the first thing she says is she will always bring you the truth. Well, she's setting herself up there. You know, they have. I mean, you know, but they have this new theme of the truth. Everything with these, yeah, exactly, and it's their truth, and it must be your truth, and then we'll be unified. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name?
Al from South Florida. How you guys doing?
All right, Al.
Yeah, I was watching your stuff yesterday. That was great. You were sharing that on on YouTube. We get to see Donald Trump and I saw that interview, which is pretty good too.
Oh, thank you. My NTD interview, yes.
Yeah, I like that. Let me ask you this: what do you think? I don't know. I'm just going to take a guess. The first thing that Trump will come out, like I see something coming out soon. I don't know when, but hopefully soon, where he announces something where he'll be involved in his own social media, where because like with him being silenced, unfortunately by the Twitter and whatever, him announcing something. I'm sure he has something in the works with somebody that we don't know.
Well, I think that right before his last day in the White House, not only did he declassify the Crossfire Hurricane, which was the FISA warrant spy operation on Trump Tower, they distributed it to some people, so because it was declassified. So I'm imagining it's only a matter of time, real soon. I would hope to start hearing from it already. Things that came out of that about those FISA warrants and the spying on Trump Tower. That'll be great stuff.
Yeah, I see that. Actually, I think you're right. I think that will happen first.
What about this stuff on Hunter?
Oh, that's never going to go anywhere. That's over now. His dad just got inaugurated yesterday. That's all swept under all the rugs now.
It's like things happen that they get away with it.
But Hunter's a train wreck, and now he's totally vindicated. So and cleared. So what does somebody like Hunter do when they get away with something?
They go back to doing more of those things.
And they become even more bold because they got away from it and with it, and their daddy's in charge of things now.
Crazy and stuff, but yeah, hopefully Donald Trump will announce something soon. Have his. Hopefully he'll have something similar. I mean, I'm not saying a lot of people are. I don't want to say addicted, but use Twitter because it's the way the format is. I mean, I use Parler, and I want hopefully Parler to come back. But I'll be honest, I didn't like the format of Parler. I'm not saying it's bad, but some people are still used to using Twitter. If that was the case, like you even made a smart thing you said about not getting rid of Twitter. Some people getting rid of it.
I mean, I can't believe how... Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean about Parler. It's not as... well, they don't have the money that Twitter has, so it's not as user-friendly.
But I still think Donald Trump will come up with something separate.
I imagine what Trump is probably doing first is trying to get a social media platform out there where he could communicate. Because all these announcements and things we're talking about, it's hard for him to get the word out to the people because he doesn't have... They're not going to put him on television. And if he does something on conservative media, the mainstream media aren't going to report it, and he's not on Twitter. So he's probably trying to figure out a way to reconnect with us because he's lost a bit of a connection, not having the Twitter. So I was talking earlier, if Biden really meant unity in a positive way, as opposed to agree with me and then we're united, he would call on the impeachment trial to not happen and be stopped, and call on Twitter to reinstate Trump on Twitter. I mean, you can't move on forward together if you are trying to keep our leader in exile, on literally on an island, because Palm Beach is an island where Mar-a-Lago is, tiny island too.
I actually was turning on. I don't watch it, all the time, like the whole show. But I was turning on something with Fox, somebody said the exact same thing you kind of mentioned. He said about that he should act, not only Trump, even a lot of the conservatives that they suspended, they should let them go back on.
Everybody. And, I was talking to a reporter yesterday. They did not use, this was not NTD, it was another reporter, and they didn't use this because of what I said. By the way, I wasn't over there hogging for media, but I did this one interview with NTD, and some people heard it, and I guess it went so well. I got, this other reporter, and I'm not going to say who it is because maybe they'll still do it, but they haven't used it. They asked me, what do you say to those here in Palm Beach that are moving to not allow the president to live at Mar-a-Lago? And I said those same people never said Jeffrey Epstein couldn't live out there on that island right down the street. So they're okay with Jeffrey Epstein, but not Trump. And that didn't make it yet. They haven't aired that yet. But I thought that was a good quote.
Yeah.
It was hard to say that with a straight face because I didn't want to laugh when I said it. But you should have seen their face when I said that. That's a good one, isn't it? Yeah. Jeffrey Epstein's okay, but Trump's gone. But listen. Trump is a media guy. He knows marketing and branding and everything else. So more than a developer, he's a marketer and brander. If you think about it.
I can't think of anybody I would rather have in charge of this product better than Trump.
Yeah. So what he's doing right now with the new political party is he's figuring out how to market it and brand it and how to get it out there. That's what he's doing.
I think he can come up with something that'll be similar to Twitter, but even better.
Well, here's the thing with Parler, okay? Say Parler comes back, which I'm not confident it will, because when it comes back, they're going to find another way to silence it, I believe. But Trump understands that social media helped him become president, not because it was filled with people that agree with him. It's because there was a dialogue going on of people from all different backgrounds, and that's why the Trump MAGA group is so diverse. So he doesn't want to come back on some social media platform that's just MAGA people that already love him. He wants to go out there and stir it up, right? So I think that's probably what he's trying to figure out now.
You guys all have a good day.
All right, take care. Let's take another call before we break. You're on the air. Good morning. What's your name?
Hi, Louise from Boca.
Hey, Louise.
I want to know if anybody saw this or observed this. On Hannity, I thought in the very beginning he was going to show the film clips of the president coming back to Mar-a-Lago. And he mentioned, okay, we'll show that later, like something was wrong with the clip. And then we never saw it. Now, am I the only one who observed this?
Well, I didn't watch Hannity last night, but I wouldn't necessarily blame Hannity. He doesn't own Fox, and he's got bosses at Fox, and he's got limitations that he has to work under. So he may have planned on doing it, and listen, when they're doing a show like that, when he's recording, because I don't think he does his show live. He may, but even if it's live or recorded, it's being shown throughout the whole Fox place, right? Even if it's being recorded, and some senior person might have seen him say that and made a call and said he can't do it. Like yesterday, Chris Wallace said on the air that Biden's speech was the second greatest inaugural speech, right after President Kennedy. And I mean, so that tells you what Hannity's working with over there. So I
couldn't believe that, because on the 6 o'clock news, they showed, the clip of him coming to Mar-a-Lago, the people lining the...
Yeah, but 6 o'clock is Bret Baier. That's considered news. Hannity's a lot like Trump to them. He can do no right. He can do no right, according to Chris Wallace and the management.
Local news that these clips were on. But I kept thinking, did I miss something?
No, you didn't. They obviously didn't let him run it, is what I'm telling you.
I can't believe this.
Well, you're just waking up that Fox News is biased. Fox News is sold out.
Oh, well, now I'm going to be boycotting that as well. I boycotted the inauguration, that's for sure.
Oh, I didn't watch 10 seconds. Did you watch any of the inauguration, Steve? No, I didn't either. No way.
No.
No.
Steve, did you watch Hannity last night? I couldn't believe
I did not see Hannity.
What?
No.
I did not watch Hannity last night.
Because I kept thinking, did I miss that?
No. No, you didn't. But listen, we're going to miss a break if I don't go. But no, you didn't miss anything. They didn't let him run it. We're going to take our break 32 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, Brian Craig here. We've been telling you on the Steve Kane Show, for coronavirus testing, stop by any lab test now of Coral Springs and any lab test now of Boca. One of our longtime sponsors, Dr. Mitch Mattez of the Boca Raton Center for Age Management, went to any lab test now of Boca for coronavirus testing this weekend, and he called in live on the radio to share his experience.
Listen, Brian, I have a great experience to tell you about. I went to any lab test now on Saturday to get COVID-19 tested. And it was awesome. We had a little experience where we had somebody in our close circle that tested positive after 10 days, by the way. Went and had it tested. It took 10 days to get the results. We all went into a little bit of a panic, obviously. So we called up any lab test now. It was about maybe 11:30 in the morning on Saturday. They said, come on right on over.
Oh, by the way, guys, yeah, make sure you subscribe. If you're new here, click that notification bell. And all of you guys, my interview with NTD News is on my channel. So go watch that. And also, when I saw the president yesterday, that's all there. And then when I went and saw Air Force One and all that, that's all on my YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out. And Kathy and I, we got a brand new podcast I uploaded this morning on all the podcast platforms before I came to the radio station. It's going to be on YouTube today as well. Don't miss it. It was a very good podcast. Talking about a lot of interesting things.
It really was. It was cool, and it's easy, it's simple, and I'm telling you, that's the way to go. Forget this 10-day nonsense.
Doctor recommended. Can I say that in the commercial now? Doctor recommended. Any lab test now of Boca Raton.
Yeah, doctor recommended. Yeah, it was really kind of cool, and it was wonderful, and it was easy. And listen, to that end, go over and get tested.
Thank you, Howling Wolf.
It tells you point blank, did you have it, do you have it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That's great. So Dr. Mitch Mattez personally recommending any lab test now of Boca.
You heard Dr. Mitch Mattez. Any lab test now of Boca is doctor recommended for coronavirus testing. They're located in the Sandalfoot Plaza. It's where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto
Hello,
Park
Catherine.
Road and north of Hillsboro on the east side of 441. Give them a call, 561-237-5009.
Thank you, Katina. Thank you.
561-237-5009. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood over by the Coral Square Mall. Their number, 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on The Steve Kane Show.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for...
All right, we're back. And don't forget, any lab tests now of Boca and Coral Springs are open on Saturdays if you can't make it in there during the week. There are lots of any lab test nows around. Those are the only 2 locations sponsoring this program, the Steve Kane Show. So support us by using those locations. And by the way, any lab test now of Boca and Coral Springs, they have all the different COVID testings you need for whatever you need it for. If you need it for travel, if you need it for work, if you just need to know, and they have the lowest prices anywhere. All right, back to the phones. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Greg too.
Oh, hey, Greg.
Hey, quick question for you first. You know this Mr. Lindell, who's being punished obviously economically for support of Trump. Why doesn't he advertise on Newsmax? And why doesn't Newsmax have advertisers?
Well, because he does run. They do. I think they have run. I have seen spots for him on Newsmax.
Newsmax has gained all this popularity, which I think is true. Why don't they have fully booked?
That's obvious. Mike Lindell, I've seen him on Newsmax many times, but Newsmax, you know, the mainstream media is based out of New York City. right? That includes Fox News. Newsmax is also based out of New York City, by the way. The corporate office is here in Boca. And Chris Ruddy lives here in Boca. But the advertising agencies that you're talking about are also based out in New York, and they're freezing out Newsmax. The advertising agencies won't run spots on Newsmax.
True, but
well, it is true. It is true. It's obvious. I mean, it's obvious.
Brian, let me say, a lot of companies, they actually owe a duty to their shareholders, and their job is...
No, not the companies. Not the companies. The advertising agencies that handle the ad buys for the companies, okay, are freezing out Newsmax TV.
You're a CEO or president of a company, they're gaining huge viewership. You tell your ads, get us on there. They listen to you. They don't make it.
Well, this is the thing, okay? And this is, Steve and I dealt with this. Advertising agencies don't care what's in the best interest, typically, of the people they work for. And
true.
And advertising agencies, in particular the New York agencies, are, like most people in New York City, liberal. And that's the way it is. And I watch a lot of Newsmax, and I can tell by the ads they have that the New York advertising agencies are freezing them out. Greg Kelly does his show from Manhattan every night, and that's the way it is. That's what's going on. I've heard Rush talk about the left wing. I think he was talking about it in relation to the NFL when their ratings tanked over the kneeling thing a couple years back. And the advertising agencies are liberal, mostly run by liberal women who are in charge of these things out in New York, and that's what they do.
Okay, that makes sense, and it's sad because they have a lot of viewership. I like it. I think it upgrades some of their television programming, but I like their nighttime commentators. Listen, also, has Trump come out and said that he's going to continue with politics? Is there a definitive statement from him? He might want to go back to running his empire.
No.
Okay, so we don't
He said words to the effect that he'll be back, like the Terminator.
He come out and said a point. Okay, because I think he may go back to running his empire and say, you know what, I'm done with this political thing. I did my thing for 4 years, and you know what? Do you guys support a third party?
Well, you're asking a lot of questions. Let's go through them. Typically, I'll go in reverse so I don't forget. With the third party, typically I wouldn't, and I would rather have Trump stay in the Republican Party. But I believe that if Trump or a hand-picked person he endorsed won every single Republican primary in 2024, Mitch McConnell and George W. Bush would have a broker convention and steal it from him. So I don't think Trump or a backed candidate could get the nomination in the Republican Party. Even winning every primary and caucus, they would steal it. And third party, the Republican Party was once a third party until Lincoln won the presidency,
Right, but it would take years to...
Well, what difference does it make to elect people that are Republicans that are working with the Democrats?
Listen, I'm not happy with the situation, but, Joe Biden, and how do they call herself, Kamala, or is it Kamala? I love that you played the Supreme Court justice, didn't even know her name. That's priceless, or at least the way she wants it pronounced. They are doing such damage to our country. In their first afternoon, signing 17 executive orders. Like you just said, 11,000 people right off the rip lost their jobs.
Yeah.
It's a ripple.
Basically, all Biden did yesterday was fire people. Fire the one of the highest-ranking African Americans in the civil service, the Surgeon General. And then 11,000 people immediately were laid off yesterday from his other order with the Keystone Pipeline. So in an era where we've had COVID lockdowns, closing businesses down in all 50 states, Joe Biden started his day putting thousands more out of work. And he was applauded for it.
I know, and it's going to continue to get even worse. So listen, I don't see any positives coming. And by the way, I think the next president of the United States that we'll support will be Ron DeSantis. DeSantis, I think he's going to be our next.
I love Ron DeSantis. So does Trump. But at the last Trump rally I saw him at with Ron DeSantis, he talked about Ron DeSantis's appearance, and it's an interesting thing what he said. And Ron DeSantis in a suit looks kind of fat, And President Trump said that he saw him with his shirt off. I don't know what the situation was, but he saw him with his shirt off, and he's built like he's a bodybuilder, Ron DeSantis, and he's built like Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the Mr. Universe days or whatever he was in, but in the suit. Trump told DeSantis, he says, you got to do something about the way you look in the suit to get elected. Oh, maybe he should just go shirtless, like Fabio or something. Yeah, exactly.
Rally.
Well, hey, it might help him get the gay vote.
Great.
All right, take care. On that note, let's go. All right, you're on the air. What's your name?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the radio.
Yes, hi. Yes, I was calling because I was thinking, what did you think about, Trump establishing his own Patriot Party, or more even just flushing out the GOP establishment?
Well, that's what he's got to decide. This thing when he, Newsmax reported like it was an official thing that Trump's starting the third party, the Patriots Party. What Trump does a lot of times, none of these people have ever read The Art of the Deal. The Art of a Deal is a tiny little book you can read in an hour and a half. I mean, and he does everything right out of The Art of the Deal, and none of them have read it. One thing that he does is manipulate people. He's a manipulator in a good way, and he may be doing this trial balloon with the third party to freak out the Republican establishment. Lindsey Graham said that if they try him and convict him, and he forms a third party, half of the Republicans are gone on day one, to the new party. And I saw a lot of these. The swamp was all back together. Senator Hawley and Cruz and all the rest. They were out there at the inauguration yesterday, from what I understand. The swamp may be all back together, but they still need Republicans to show up and vote for them. And the third party has got to terrify them, because I know me, if Trump said I got a new party, whatever he calls it, I'm going to change my registration day one.
One of the factors that you're going to have to consider is, apart from how Trump handles things, it'll be interesting to trace where Biden goes from here, because he could end up in a lot of trouble making some of the decisions he's making, and things could really go to hell in a handbasket real quick. That can only make things easier for Trump if it goes that way.
Yeah, because I just think forming a third party, first you need a lot of resources, you need a lot of manpower, and that could take years. I just think it's easier to just flush out the GOP establishment.
Well, that may be what he's doing. In that clip.
I don't think that Donald Trump has gotten where he is doing the.
Yeah.
I don't think he's concerned with easy. I think he's concerned with effective. That's
right. Hey, listen, thanks for the call. Some good content there. If you'd like to call in, our number toll free, 1-888-GO-KANE 1-888-465-2631. Hey, Steve, it's your favorite part of the show, and also the most highly listened portion of the show, and Gold Report time.
The popularity of the Gold Report, brought to you by William Youngerman of William Youngerman Inc. William, of course, one of the leading experts in the issue of precious metals. He's been advising clients on trends and movements in those precious metals. I think it's about 50 years now, 17 of those, right here on the Steve Kane Show. And we are so blessed that every morning William takes time out to do this Gold Report and lets you know how things went yesterday.
Well, thank you, Georgine.
How things
Thank
are
you.
shaping up for the day. William, how is it looking today?
Looking good, Steve. The metals are very much higher yesterday, as we saw the
Steve Kane
dollar
Show.
get weaker again, and gold take off. I mean, up $32.30 on close. Gold closing at $1,872 yesterday. Big close, and certainly taking out some of that resistance that we've seen in the trading range that we were locked into for a while. Silver up 61 cents at $25.79. And platinum, the big winner the last couple of days, or the last several days, up $28 yesterday, closing above the $1,100, which was resistance. $1,106 on the close yesterday. Palladium up $16 at $2,256 the ounce. A little bit of a pullback on gold this morning, expected profit taking, but down $3.50 right now. Gold at $1,868.50. Silver up 5 cents currently at $25.85 the ounce, while platinum, get this, up another $39 at $1,145, and palladium $35 at $22.91. So markets are all behaving very good. A lot of the industrial metals moving higher with the idea that construction of new homes, which the numbers came out, were up dramatically for permits, and we're looking at a lot of probably inflation on all of these industrial goods. So that being said, we see inflation in the future here as they continue to print dollars into infinity, which that wallpaper will eventually make gold very, very valuable and the only real asset to hold.
I remember the meeting we had in your office when you put me into platinum. Remember that meeting?
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
That was a faithful. That was over a year ago or something like that. Boy, you sure. I gotta tell you, when William tells you something, you take it very seriously. So you think now's a good time to buy, eh, William?
Absolutely. Markets are acting like they want to go much higher this year.
Tell them how to find you.
Pardon?
Tell them how to find you.
Oh, sir.
Your address.
Yes, we're in Boca Raton, 2 blocks east of Federal Highway on Palmetto Park Road. The address 150 East Palmetto Park Road, and that's in the Bank of America building. We're right in the lobby. And our phone number is 1-800-327-5010, 800-327-5010. Our hours are 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And, of course, all the precious metals in stock for immediate delivery, no waiting.
All right, William. You take care. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
All right. Have a great day.
That's right.
And he did some switching of different. William is an expert, and if you want to make an appointment, go in there. It doesn't cost anything to consult with him.
Yep.
Make an appointment, go on in there, and maybe he'll find a place to make one of those great switches for you with your precious metals collection. Will you tell him that?
That's right. That's right. There was this one. I want to play this clip of Biden yesterday, which I thought was such a strange thing to say. He was talking about firing his staff. Listen, this was yesterday after the inauguration.
But I'm not joking when I say this. If you're ever working with me and I hear you treat another colleague with disrespect, talk down to someone, I promise you I will fire you on the spot. On the spot. No ifs, ands, or buts. Everybody is entitled to be treated with decency and dignity. That's been missing in a big way the last 4 years.
Wow, what is he talking about? What is he referencing? He's...
Do you ever see a toad out in the wild, whatever, isn't it, when it blows itself up?
Yeah.
It's one of the many creative defenses that toads have, and that's what he reminds me of. He'll sit there puffing all that poison up into himself.
Yeah. I'll tell you the thing. This is an interesting thing with Biden. Yeah.
The other thing that comes through with Biden, just what he's saying is what he's most guilty of.
Yeah.
Reputation is for abusing people and being nasty to people.
Yeah.
And he's sitting here, Mr. Toad.
And look at what he's done, right?
Willows.
He started the day and ended the day doing the same thing, right? He was inaugurated. First thing he did was fire a black man, right? The Surgeon General. Then he signed an order. He signed an order that immediately got 11,000 people fired on the Keystone Pipeline, and then he ended his day by telling his staff he was going to fire them all on the spot if they step out of line. What is it with this guy firing people and putting people out of work? That's his whole day yesterday.
It's what he does best.
It's very strange. You know what a lot of it is with him? He's been wheeling and dealing and selling the country out for 50 years. He finally is the guy in charge of everything, and now he's really got to show his power, you know? But a very strange day. All right, take some calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Good morning.
Russ from the People's Republic of Goshen.
The People's Republic of what?
Connecticut.
Connecticut. Oh, okay. I thought People's
Goshen?
I never know. I don't know. I guess not. I'm sorry. I don't know everything.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, that was a beautiful, beautiful thought about Biden.
It's a frog.
You know, if 47 million of us sign up as a new party, MAGA party tomorrow, they'll just manipulate the statistics in the next election.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that's true, you know, and, you know, listen, the Republicans, Mitch McConnell has already made his millions, okay? He's on his way to retirement right now. But there are a lot of other Republicans that want to, they haven't been up there 50 years yet, like this guy. You know what I mean? So they still got 45 years, 30 years ahead of them, you know what I mean? So they still need Republican voter support to be like Mitch McConnell, who's already cashed in. Right now, he's just doing the final paybacks for all his cashing in. And they cannot, and you know, the Ted Cruz's and some of these others, they cannot afford. It's very easy for George W. Bush to do what he did yesterday, disgrace us by going out with Clinton and Obama out there and celebrating the defeat of the Republican president. Shame on Bush, but he's already done. These other guys, you know, they still need us. You know, and yesterday, they might have been united in their anti-Trumpness, but that's going to fade away real soon, and reality will set in.
I've been laboring in the fields here at the Republican Party in Connecticut for the last 25 years. And in Connecticut, you know, it's really depressing. We don't even come close to winning.
You know, we've got some, there's some good friends of ours that are listeners to the program that go on our Steve Kane cruises that live in Connecticut. And, I mean, you can't even let people know you're a Republican there. I mean, you've got to, like, live in, it's like a secret society.
Absolutely true. Absolutely.
It's worse than any place else I've ever heard of. In New York, you can be more out of the closet.
Well, New York is moving to Connecticut now. That's the problem.
Oh, there you go. That's the problem. Hey, listen, Connecticut, thanks for the call. Can you spell Connecticut? I can't. I don't know if I can spell it. All right, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Yeah. Hey, this is Robert Pimpton, man.
Okay, Robert.
Yeah. Listen, is Greg there? Is he on?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, anyway.
He doesn't live here.
For yesterday, because he kind of checked me on something.
Oh, Craig. Oh, I thought you said Greg. No, Craig. Yes, me. Yeah, Brian Craig. Yes, I'm here. Where would I'm always here. Where would I be? Oh, hey, Robert.
Like Kentucky. You made me think yesterday, man, about, you know, when I first called you and was commenting, and I really did think about that, and I thought, man, there ain't no sense of being negative about anything, you know, because that don't solve nothing. But,
yes.
And something came to me, and I thought I'll tell it to you, and you can think what you want to do with it.
Oh, okay.
I'm a believer in Christ. So, as a Christian, we determine what our truth is. We determine what our truth is by the Word of God, right?
Okay.
So, as an American citizen, we determine what our truth is by a document called the Constitution of the United States.
Okay, you got to be quick because we got to move on. So you got about 10 seconds.
Okay, under the Constitution of the United States, the election was.
You got it. I mean, you've got to move on. I mean, listen. I'll tell you this real quick. I know you guys talk slow in Kentucky. You got to call back tomorrow. We'll talk in more detail. But the inauguration is over. You got to move on beyond that. I mean, you're living in the past. All right. Oh, it's time to check in with Richard Pearl, who, of course, his show, Richard Pearl on Politics, follows the Steve Kane Show each and every morning on this radio station at 9. Richard Pearl, good morning.
Hey, Richard.
Good morning. Good morning to both of you.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Yesterday was a tough first show. I played the song My Way at the end of it, and it affected me emotionally at the beginning of the show. I couldn't even speak for the first couple of minutes. It was a very extraordinary day. As you pointed out in what I was just listening to, we've got to accept things and do nothing different and hope that something better will happen. So I'm going to talk about to be coming over, sort of like the Blob. There was a movie back in the late days where this blob came to Earth, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was encompassing the movie theater and the town and people, etc. And that's what Marxism is doing. We are getting to a state in our country where we're accepting something that 2 years ago we would have never accepted.
Yeah.
And conformity go hand in hand. They're looking to get all of us to conform into one belief. There's only one way, and the truth is only their truth. And if you don't agree with them, something is wrong with you, and you must be punished in some fashion. And in the beginning, it'll be minor, but it'll get progressively worse to the point where maybe they'll think that you belong in a special camp. You know, like China does, and Germany did. And actually, Germany is making new detention camps if you don't want...
Richard Pearl, what you just mentioned, Richard, is frightening. In Germany, Steve, if you don't adhere to the mask mandates and social distancing guidelines, they are taking you away to detention centers. And Germany, doesn't Germany have enough history with the detention center in German? It's called concentration camps. I mean, I think that's how you say it in German. It's frightening. Yeah, exactly. But listen, it's almost time for the highly rated show that follows us, Richard Pearl on Politics. It's just a few seconds away. So listen, don't touch that dial. Richard Pearl's show is on this radio station, weekdays at 9 a.m., following us each and every day. His store, filled with the best nutraceuticals anywhere, Simply Natural, is in Sunrise, open 7 days a week, 11 to 9, just north of Sunset Strip on the east side of University in Sunrise, and the number 954-741-4045. We're all out of time, Richard. We'll be tuned in just a couple of minutes to hear your show. Take care. We'll talk tomorrow. And that's it for us today, Steve. We will talk to you tomorrow, 6 a.m.
Got you covered. AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
I just made it out on time before because they have news at the top of the hour at 9 a.m. We got to be done by. Just to give you an idea of what I deal with here. This will seem petty. I just got a message from a listener on the radio telling me that I mispronounced street. Hey Brian, it's not strong or street. Its pronouncement is of a lower S on the S, street. Yeah, I'm serious. I'm going to cover up their contact information so you don't see that. This is how petty it is. I get stuff like this all day about everything you can imagine. Whenever you're in the public eye, people are always, see, look, read that. I'm not kidding. Look at that. Can you believe how petty people are? It is petty, isn't it? I know. And if you can imagine what it's like to get criticized for something this petty, can you? I know. Can you imagine the other stuff I hear from people? I know. This is what it's like. This is what it's like to be me. Hey guys, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. And I showed it to you because I didn't want you to think I made that up. Make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. Check out my videos yesterday of the president at Mar-a-Lago and my interview on NTD News. I would love you guys to do that. And also, Catherine and I, we got a brand new podcast that I uploaded on our podcast platforms this morning before I came to work, but it's going to be here on YouTube a little later today, so keep an eye out for that. All right, guys, I'll see ya. Thanks for watching.